Greetings, and welcome to the Guild of Mazes presents So You Think You Can Quest, the online live-streamed Dungeons & Dragons-based game show with real cash prizes and precious stones that raises money for rotating community charities. I'm your host and Dungeon Master. And this is just a quick introduction to episode 23 of our open beta development process. I won't take up too much of your time, but know that this episode contains our party finding some much-deserved lore that they've sought after in reference to the Mist Troll's mysterious Malfey leader, in addition to a discovery that could rock the very foundations of Fog Iron Landing. A war council will be called, some graphs will be generated, but you'll have to be here to find out at the end of the episode who walks away with a precious stone and who goes home without. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
Bring on your goblin holes and band of oaks, hulking zombies and kabobs, and no troll, don't slow me down, no. Don't be malicious, ever vicious, so many possibilities. When I swing, I'm a clap on beat thing, go again, every time my friend, the outcome's always the same. I walk down 20 sides and clean your hands and swing, because I'm rolling 20s like a 68 Impala. AC doesn't matter, critical damage from my warhammer. I throw the big two against every single farm that goes by the force of my mighty blow. I lay 'em low, yes I lay 'em low.
And we are live, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday edition of So You Think You Can Quest, and the first of the new year, presented by the Guild of Mazes. This is the first online, live-streamed Dungeons & Dragons game show with real cash prizes and precious stones that helps raise money for rotating community charities. Speaking of charities, for the rest of January and maybe February, depending upon the way that the period turns out, we are raising money for the charity Heads Up Guys, who helps provide resources for depression and depression management, and that is a charity that was nominated by one of our patrons and then voted on by our community. So if you have a cause that's near and dear to your heart, don't forget that you might find it one day in the future also the subject of our philanthropy. Now, last we joined our heroes, they had found themselves scouting through the wilderness surrounding Fog Iron Landing, trying to recover any information they could about the mysterious gathering of the trolls that was bringing, rather much danger and also distressed the township there and disrupting the many mining operations that were going on in these ranch lands south of Hope's Rise. Of course, I will give you a little better description of what happened exactly, but in the meantime, it's also important to remember that our grand prize, or main prize for the quest that is trying to be accomplished right now, the entrance to the dungeon underneath Hope's Rise, has gone up to a value of $560 to the living party members who are able to step foot inside of this ancient, fortified, subterranean structure that seems to be at the heart of so many mysteries surrounding this far-flung mountain town. In the meantime, we have two new players joining us this evening. They are prior contestants who've just been faithfully showing up to the player roster every night. So, of course, after openings occur, it is unlikely that they can go too long without getting back into the game. So we will be welcoming back a couple of familiar faces in the form of a druid by the name of Halasun Shine and a fighter by the name Ulta of Nom. Now, in the meantime, to exactly get into the details of what happened last session, we spent most of it on the edge of our seats as the party engaged in their first stealth reconnaissance by use of the Cleric of Trickery's both Pass Without Trace as well as Blessing of the Trickster to send a 3-man team that was able to get progressively further past the trolls, many scouts, and fortifications. Now, it took all that they had, the wizard having to use themselves as a distraction before teleporting out, and then further yet still, so did the bard as well. But this allowed our cleric to the God of Secrets to make their way further into the camp, discover that there was some sort of ritual tent, get a look at what the commanding troll of this area looks like, and confirm that it is in fact not the mysterious, more civilized and dapper leader that they are looking for, as well as a number of other things. Finally, before they exited, they were able to, in a last-ditch effort, rolling with disadvantage, but producing 2 17s on something they do not have proficiency in, they were able to throw open the chain knot around the cage of a mysterious fae, who then was able to aid that cleric's escape and also promised to reunite with the party back at Fog Iron Landing in a day's time, once they had had the chance to properly recover and warn their kin of something that seemed direly urgent. The party then, with a very lucky series of rolls, was able to get back to Fog Iron Landing the short way around, taking the cliffside and navigating its shoreline rather artfully with a number of survival checks that turned out pretty well. They have now returned with their reconnaissance complete, and their scout escort from the Cloudforge Ironworkers Guild has sort of retreated for the night in order to be debriefed by Zetheria, the Genasi, who is running that company and was the one who had sent the players out into the wilderness in the first place. Now, of course, having reached 5th level last session, this has yet to take effect, as the players have one more encounter roll to suffer through for the evening as they pass away their time here at the main inn that sits at the center of town here in Fog Iron Landing. So without further ado, I am going to get us back over to the players and the game board. Due to the late arrival of one of the players, I still need to shuffle around some of the names and tokens, so that'll take about 30 seconds as we're getting live, but I'm sure the players have a number of things to discuss, as there were revelations last session that warrant discussion. All right, and here we go. Everybody, we are live. Welcome, welcome. And we find ourselves once again in Fog Iron Landing late into the evening. Our players have either retired to their bedrooms or sit yet still in the common room of the inn, listening to the musicians play and the almost unceasing clank of mine carts and forging hammers of production working in the distance, as there are seemingly no rests for the miners of this company, well, of the various companies that make up this town. Players, welcome to the table one Halasoon Shine, as well as one Ulta of Nom. Halasoon is a silver dragonborn of the druidic inclination, and Ulta of Nom is a dwarven fighter, and I believe a battle master at that. I'm going to quickly shuffle around these tokens really quick, and players, feel free to walk about the cabin as you now have free reign of yourselves. It is worth noting, of course, that warping in with a zank and a zank, both of you having been flung through the Guild of Mazes' rather rickety teleportation system, find yourselves ill at ease for a moment as you readjust to having been disassembled and then flung through the astral highways, only to be crudely then stuffed back into a third-dimensional body that hardly seems an adequate vessel to contain the infinite consciousness you were once a fleeting moment a part of, and are now kind of stuck in an otherwise dingy, ale-smelling common room, listening to a bard pluck idly by at their strings.
First of all, I think our names are mixed right now, and I think Ben doesn't have access to his character.
Ben doesn't have access to his character?
He has access to mine.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have access to... Oh, hold on. Sorry.
And
As we get
the
this
HP
adjusted...
The HP is at 10 for the druid. Right
Oh, the
now.
HP is... a number of comp players at the start of this. I will get that fixed in just a moment. In the meantime... Oh, yeah. There we go. They were right next to each other on the player list. Sorry about that.
No
Slip
problem.
of the finger there.
There we go. Okay.
And yes, that HP did not get updated properly. One moment. That should be at a 38. I remember rolling it specifically. For whatever reason, there are problems getting that to save sometimes when you're choosing a character's like archetype at level 3. Alright, Halasoon, welcome to the game. And I am going to fix the name tags right now. Don't worry about it. But players, please, is there anything you'd like to do before you make your encounter roll for this evening?
I growl at that bard to be quiet. My head is pounding.
I was just kind of trying to shake it off and looking for the other party member.
Since I'm with Rydell right now at Delara, I'm saying, hey, welcome to the gang. I'm Inel Nasera.
Hello, welcome. I'm Rydell.
She shakes their hands and tells them she's Alta of Nam.
And you, the silver one, what's your name?
Mr. Shine. Is that guy always so loud?
Not when we're sleeping, so I think we should do that. Don't you think?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, you're gonna need some rest. We should probably bed in now.
That's Gail, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
I think you're gonna like it here.
Now we sleep.
A good night's sleep.
Hopefully.
That'll help that headache of yours.
We have 2 rooms, right? Let's go with. I think we should maybe the squishier one, maybe with a fighter or with the fighter or something, maybe, because I don't want to. Last time I was here and slept alone, I got turned into this. So I think we shouldn't be alone.
Our rooms are close to each other, right?
Your rooms are, as a matter of fact. This inn is fairly small.
Gail and Mr. Shine, wanna be with me?
Yeah.
I'll go with Ulta then. If you
Works
don't
for me.
mind. Perfect.
All right, let's sleep this off.
Getting a little bit of lag here. Sorry, one moment. Why this is freezing up on me. But if all of you are going to bed down for the evening, then I will take an encounter roll from the party. And that will get us off to the races and hopefully see you safely to 5th level. Or perhaps expire in the evening.
Let's hope not.
So who's rolling?
There we
Do you
go.
want me to?
Alright. Things have opened back up.
Yeah. You're the fourth
Okay.
stage.
Go for it. Go for it.
All of our character tokens and names are in the right place. Excellent. So I'm going to throw the appropriate tokens down because I believe we're still looking at, yes, the old bard and the old fighter on the actual world map. But also with a 22, it seems that the party is going to face potentially something of consequence this evening, as the wider the margins grow between the player's role and my role on my custom encounter charts, the more dastardly or significant these things become. One moment. And we will see what they get into for the evening.
Don't let me roll anymore.
Yeah.
It's okay. 2-2. That's like twice 11, which is good luck. So we've got double good luck, right? Yeah? Uh-huh.
Does
I
that
like the way you look at it.
doesn't
And it all
double?
depends on the variance, on what he rolls.
Yeah, maybe. Let's hopefully. Let's hopefully we sleep.
But we never know what he rolls.
Right.
We will never know. We will never know.
All right. I'm going to make a quick check here to see who this applies to. All right. It looks like Reyna, aka one Ulta, you are going to bed down for the evening, only to find that in the mattress that you go to lay upon, there is some sort of like a large knot at the foot of the bed where your ankle would rest. And you think nothing of it, as inns like this are common with stuffing their mattresses with knotted up like hay or clumped down feathering that is of low grade, low quality, and rather unremarkable. But the thing that you find that is kind of surprising is as you cut open the bed to try and kind of even out the stuffing, you find that the result, the thing that was causing this in the first place seems to be some sort of like ball of clay or some kind that did not get processed out of the hay in this mattress. And then holding up that ball of dirt, you're going to see that inside seems to be some sort of stone of some kind.
Hey, what you got there?
Well,
That's weird.
as a dwarf, is there any way I can kind of tell what kind of stone it is?
It is rough and unpolished at the moment, but go ahead and give me an intelligence check if you don't have skill with masonry or an applicable proficiency in something.
Just the stone cunning.
Okay, yeah. So just give me an intelligence check
The
and.
music is loud apparently.
Oh, it's I noticed it was too quiet in the last few sessions, so I tried to turn it up, and I'm still gonna have to try and find that delicate balance. Thank you, everybody, for letting me know.
So with the stone cunning, it says when I make an intelligence check, I can do history.
Oh, then use history. If you have it. All right, that is going to be 14. Looking at this rock, you can tell it is an uncut stone of some kind. That's the worst description ever. It is an uncut, like quartz of some kind. That inside of it, you can see there are these faint, like dark red crystals that sort of permeate it in almost a vein-like fashion. The thing seems to have a certain amount of natural glow to it, almost as if there is a pulsing like energy or electric potential trapped within the quartz and crystal.
Well, since I know there's several magic users around here,
I'm
I'm gonna ask one of them.
I'm in the same room as you, so.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna show it to Anel then, and say, have you seen something like this before?
Can I roll an Arcana check?
Okay, go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
Try to analyze its magic and what potential it has.
Yep. There we go. 20. With that, Inel, you are going to, while clutching this thing and kind of beginning to like study the almost like aura that it gives off when you make your mind's eye more available to the mystic realm beyond the material plane. And you are going to get a bad feeling about this thing. Whatever it is that this thing has in terms of magical property, you do not want any part of. As you see in your mind's eye, there are these sort of like dark, rippling currents of energy moving throughout it. And whether or not it is powerful, it seems as if it is likely an ill omen of some kind.
Can you choose something for?
I wouldn't just throw it out there for someone else to find.
It's either them or us. And it's really giving me a bad feeling. It's dark magic, dark spirit. I don't want
Well,
to...
maybe that's why it was in clay. Could we? Does anyone have any kind of like? Could we bury it or?
We're pretty tired. We just finished a mission right now, so at least throw it in the river or something.
No, I'll take care of it then. So I'll
And
take
I'm
it back
going
from him.
You got where? Okay, all right, so I'm gonna go sleep with the other guys. Good luck. And I'll leave it.
I'll see if anyone else wants to help me.
I knock at their door first and say, "Guys, let me in, please. Ulta's got a dark rock." Gail, you there?
Yeah,
Right.
come in. What's
I
going
don't
on?
answer.
Right. Well, the new fighter got Ulta. She's got a stone. She found a stone in her mattress that is really dark magic, and powerful dark magic. And she doesn't want to throw it away, so I'm
I
staying
didn't
here
say
with
I didn't
you.
want to throw it away. I don't want to just chuck it out the window for someone else to find. I'm gonna poke the druid even though he doesn't wake up. So.
Oh God, this is. It's not going to end well.
Yeah,
I can see if I can figure out what this thing is, but I don't want to be awake longer than I have to.
Right out.
Well-
Trust me, it's dark magic, really powerful dark magic.
Okay, I'll set up a ritual and do detect magic.
Okay.
Actually,
I'll offer him my pillow and go back to bed.
I'm not gonna do the
Wait.
ritual. I'm just gonna do it.
I hear you talking about dark magic and stones?
Yes, that's why I was trying to wake you up.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this sounds interesting to me, though.
And this sounds
This is far
dangerous to
better
me.
than some spellcasting wizard. Magic should be coming from nature.
So I kind of point out what we've got here. That he said he felt dark magic coming from it and wants to just chuck it. I think we should dispose of it. Better than that, or is there something one of y'all can do with it?
I'm doing detect magic to see if I can figure out more specifically what it is.
Perfect.
Okay, so you're not using the ritual, you're just going for it, so it's not going to take you
Yeah.
10 minutes. With that, you get the sense that there is some sort of abjuration magic on this object, but in that it is likely not enchanted in the sense that it has not been inscribed with a glyph of power. It doesn't bear the workings of any sort of arcana in that sense. Whatever this thing is, it contains as a natural property, and likely due to exposure to some sort of a great malfeasance. You think likely whatever this thing is, it seems to almost eat at the life essence of things near it.
Would I have any knowledge of how to dispel it or like hampen it in any way?
With the detect magic, you would, and your existing expertise, you think that a dispel magic would likely neutralize it, but depending upon the nature of this thing's properties, it might only dampen its effects for a temporary amount of time. The thing that concerns you most is that it seems to have, in this way, almost like angled its energies towards you in the time that you've spent now, like peering deep within the many layers of like abstract color and thought that sort of surround it once you make your mind available to the various realms beyond the material. So it seems as if it's attuning to you, Rydell.
As I get this feeling, I'm gonna kind of toss it back to Ulta. Whatever this is, we need to get rid of it or something. This is, I'm exhausted now, so I can't dispel it or anything. But if we still have it around tomorrow, I'll be able to dispel it. But I think we need to act sooner than that.
Okay. What time of day is
I
it?
think that you don't know how you're going about this.
About 10 o'clock at night.
So there probably wouldn't be anyone at the mining guild. I was just, if there's something, if you say it's kind of natural, if it's something's poisoning their quartz or anything underground, they might want to look into it as opposed to just tossing it and forgetting about it.
When I want to give you my gut feeling right now. I think it's a naval creature within an egg. Just right. I have no fact like that, but I think it's my gut says that we do not keep this thing close to us.
My gut says if we don't have a way to contain this, we need to get rid of it and get as far away from it as possible.
You fear what you don't know.
Correct.
Last time I trusted what I didn't know, I turned like this. So no, I don't trust anything except my friends. And right now, I don't trust this thing.
I concur, and I know we know enough about it that we should probably either be able to contain it, or we're going to have to get as far away from it as possible. One or the other. I mean,
Okay.
we
I'm
know
a
that
fairly
much.
new age druid here.
Well,
And I
if
don't-
nobody, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Crystals can be used quite effectively for healing. This may need to be reattuned.
If you want to attune it to yourself, I mean, feel free.
But I gotta say this: if you become evil with this thing, well, told you so.
It
And I
might
could
make
find
you
it.
super powerful, though.
I don't. Even if dark magic makes you more powerful, the
As
cost
a
is.
warlock, I have to think that powerful, even at a cost, it might be good.
I mean, occult magic and dark magic, in my opinion, are not the same. And this thing is darkness incarnate.
First grade.
Yes.
With you said I was getting like the sense it was attuning to me. Would I have any with the detect magic? Would I have any idea like what it would be doing once attuned?
Because it is only a detect magic, you have no real way of knowing other than it seems like it's trying to create some sort of permanent bond. Whether or not that is beneficial in nature, you can't tell. It doesn't seem to be like actively hurting you. You don't find your essence being depleted, but I mean that could only be a matter of time or merely an illusion of this thing's properties. These things can, and by these things I mean rare minerals unearthed from the far depths of ancient bedrock of times immemorial, it tends to have a varying amount of properties.
So that they can sleep, I'm gonna go outside and bury it somewhere, mark it, so that tomorrow I can take it to like the mining guild or something.
Okay. By bury it outside, just to be a little bit more specific, are you talking like in the immediate vicinity of the inn, or are you taking it a little bit further out into like the fields or near the lake, or what's the direction that you're going with this?
Take it out by the lake. I'll stand at the window and watch. Just keep an eye on it. You turn
Get
back.
closer to the lake.
I'd like, before you bury it, to
Sure, you can come with
take
me.
a look at it. Okay. So the two of us go down out of the inn. And out of character, is this the same lake that you got called into?
Yeah, same lake right behind the inn.
No,
Okay,
it's not the
This
same
is
inn.
not the same lake. No.
Oh, it's
Okay,
not
good.
okay.
All right.
So you can have a look at it on our way down there.
Yeah. Exactly. What are you trying to accomplish there, Halasoon?
There is an essence. Actually, are you carrying it, or are you letting me look at it on the way down?
I'm letting you have a look at it on the way down there.
Make sure to stay within
Okay.
sight from my window.
Yeah. So, do I have any sense, like he did, that it's trying to connect to me?
You get the same sense that your companion Rydell did, which is it seems to be trying to attune to you. It's a matter of like whether or not you're going to allow this to occur over the next the several hours.
Yeah. I've got protection from energy. Does it seem like that's something that it's trying to?
It does not
Well, it
seem.
seems like it's going to take a few hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can I roll an Arcana check here to see if I can pick up anything more regarding that
Certainly.
presence? This is a totally normal thing that all stones do.
All right. It seems that it is definitely trying to bond with you. Based on everything you've seen so far, you have no reason to really believe that this thing wouldn't bestow dark power upon you. If that's something you're interested in, this seems like the kind of thing that you would definitely, want to get involved with.
No, I am not interested in merging with some sort of dark power. I'd be far more interested in being able to use this as some sort of healing crystal. And I'll share with you as we walk down to go bury this thing about my family having been the closest members of my family, what you consider family, my parents and siblings, were consumed by disease. Not all of my clan suffered this, but my drive is to cleanse, and if this can be turned to such an end, that's what needs to happen. But if this is some sort of potent evil force that's here to spread disease, I can't have any part of that.
Can I
I've been-
briefly listen in, or
At this point, they are down by the lakeside. You would have had to have followed them.
All right. But even with the window that Gil is open, I cannot hear them.
Unfortunately not. They are too far away, and the
gonna
sound in
walk
the common
down.
room below is just too noisy. But Halasoon, these words may be grave. Ulta, I think, however, what is your course of action here?
Well, I do tell him that I'm sorry to hear about his family, and I totally understand, and that's a good goal to have. I'm not trying to bond with it either. I just, if this is a real natural thing and it seems dark, I think the mining guild might need to look at it because there could be more of it. So my goal right now is to, if I found it in clay, I wouldn't mind burying it in a bit of clay just so that it's not going to reach anybody tonight, and then take it over there in the morning.
Right, El, can I have my slippers back, please?
Yes, here you go.
Thank you. Good night.
Well, actually, if there's no clay around here, I could mend the clay that it had been in, that you broke it from.
That would work too. That would be fantastic. And then we can still just, I don't know. Because they were afraid to have it near them, I thought burying it might keep someone else from grabbing it as well. And because he said just throw it away, but I didn't want someone else to pick it up if it is evil.
No, that's not safe.
So that's my plan, Farscrack.
All right. Noted. There isn't necessarily clay to be had, unless you're willing to dig a couple feet down, but there are certainly no end to small, like, dirt patches or grassy tufts that you could easily bury this thing under. How deep are you trying to, how much time are you trying to spend burying this thing?
Well, he said he could help mend the clay it was in, so wouldn't mind doing that, and then just a couple feet wouldn't be too bad. I don't mind spending a couple hours. I'll be a little bit tired, but that's all right.
It will not take very long to get a couple feet down. The ground here is very soft, and you will be able to get that accomplished. It'll take the better part of about 45 minutes to an hour to make it happen. In that time, as you sort of go to set the stone finally into the hole and kind of bury it once more, go ahead and give me a wisdom saving throw.
As she's digging through there, can I try to detect disease?
Certainly. All right. You will be able to complete the casting of that spell rather quickly, and it, for its entire duration, does not seem to reveal any amount of poison or disease in the area. There is, though, you kind of get this reading, quite a bit of mineral runoff in the groundwater here, and likely drinking the lake water is probably fairly toxic due to the fact that there is just so much being sloughed off from the actual ore that's coming out of the ground once it's been cracked down and washed in order to remove so much of the ambient earth and rock from earth and dirt from it. So you will find that. So
it's pretty
foul
out anyway, and a little more evil magic won't be so bad.
Right. These people, it doesn't seem like aren't going to enjoy very long lives as it is. So with that 9 wisdom saving throw, you are going to, when you put it away, feel compelled to return to pick it up tomorrow, Alta. Not in a way that makes you fearful or at all worried, really. It's just that you get this sense that you've done the right thing, that this was likely the proper task, and that you are moving somehow within a larger design that you should be. Though you cannot exactly put your finger on it, it is as if you have perhaps done a favor to a friend you have yet to meet.
Interesting. Okay.
Do I need to make one of those too, or was it just the act of burying it?
Just
that she did?
the act of actually her parting with it, and also because she was the one who discovered it. So with that though, there won't be really anything else at the time being to disrupt you. Are you gonna head back to the inn and return to your slumber?
Yes.
Okay. With that, you are going to be able to... I'm not going to interrupt your long rest, as it was really only about an hour for all of this to transpire, maybe a little bit more, but you'll be able to just accomplish that on the back end in the morning, which means that unless the players have anything else that they want to accomplish at this moment here, they will be able to bed down for the evening and successfully start reaping the benefits of their hard-earned level 5, as well as get into what will be likely a long council with many folks in the coming day, given the reports they have to give to the Cloudforge Guild, as well as hopefully making contact with that Fae that Rydell had rescued. So, with that, folks, you find the new day dawns all too soon. It seems like you're still sore from your respective journeys through either space and time, or through the rocky, uneven marshland that pulled at your boots with every step and made it seem as if your packs had almost twice the weight for the fatigue that it brought you, as well as dealing with the just slick stone shoreline of the sheer cliff face to the north of, well, to take the short path home to Fog Iron Landing with your newfound news. You find that there are no emissaries or interruptions waiting for you as you arise that morning. There is the common sight there in the inn of many of the individuals, again, still marred by the aftermath of that great night of polymorphing that no one is still really sure of what happened, or well, why that happened, or what came of those creatures that rampaged through town. But sure enough, so many of the townsfolk now here in Fog Iron Landing bear small marks of just animal characteristics, everything from horse hooves to the fangs of snakes to the large ears of various creatures. Our wizard Inel, as mentioned before, was scarred with the hand of a claw-like hand and the beak of a griffin. Which direction does the party want to begin moving in at the start of this day?
I'd like to go just kind of to the middle. First off, I'd like to go to the middle of the town and just look around and see if I can spot the Fae.
Okay, going to the middle of the town and looking around, you are not necessarily going to see them emerge like just suddenly from the morning light. So whether or not they had a specific time they were going to contact you or a specific way, you are going to just have to stand by for the time being, unless you'd like to actually just, sit and see what happens. Obviously, none of the guard or the townsfolk at this point have any want to disturb you, as you and your band have quickly begun to make a small name for yourselves, being some of the only ones to successfully defeat any of the trolls that are plaguing this village, as well as those ghouls from the night prior that you were able to save some of the innocents from.
Rydell, do you want to go to the meeting and maybe we'll try to find them later?
Yeah, they said they'd find me, and I trust that they will. So let's go give our report.
So do you want to bring that shiny rock to the meeting? Because we're meeting with some mining folks.
Yes, that would be great. So, Alta will go back and get it.
Well, let's go then.
I'll go with you.
Same.
All right. Going back, you find that the stone is there, Ulta, and that digging it from the earth that you buried it under is much easier. The labor just seeming like as if none at all, simply because once you have the stone back in your hand again, there is this sense of a completed circuit, and it feels comforting to have this thing by your side at this point.
So, Rydell, do your thing. You wanted to
Right.
dispel it, right? If I remember correctly?
I can. I don't. I was sleeping on it, and I feel that this might be some sort of sign for us that it might be more than coincidence that this has appeared before us.
I still think we should let the mining guild look at it. I'll just hang on to it for now.
Alrighty, let's go
If you
see.
feel any sort of ill effects, we can pass that around.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't feel bad at all though. I'm good.
Excellent.
Sure, let's go.
All right. At this point, you readily know the location of the main office for this branch of the Cloudforge Ironworkers, and you are expected, as Wesdrin came the night before, to debrief them of all of the happenings. So there at the door waiting for you is Wesdrin, and as per last morning, you arrive to kind of have to maneuver through a large crowd of miners who've gathered to get their assignments for the morning, and so there is quite a bit of just general hubbub and chaos, but nobody seems eager to get in your way, and it's funny how a couple of well-placed rumors and tasks around a town seem to spread like wildfire as you get these kind of just general nods of recognition from most of the folk, many of whom you do not recognize at all. Then Wesdrin, if you do not have any questions for him specifically, in his sort of tight-lipped way, is just going to nod and motion with one gloved hand that you should follow him into the interior and likely up to the upstairs office of Zetheria, where you can begin discussing the previous day's happenings in full and also away from any prying ears.
I'll follow and head upstairs.
Same. I'm just gonna say hello to the woman at the front and go with them.
Okay. The Genasi organizer that you were greeted by the previous two times seems absent today. Whether or not she is busy with some other task or something more has transpired, you are not sure, but she is distinctly lacking from her normal post just inside the interior of the front, like, main landing area of this office building. You, without further interruption, though it sounds like, will get led upstairs by Wesdrin, who nobody questions as he heads up into the offices and takes you once again to sort of the large corner office of the foreman of this branch, Zetheria. She is going to be waiting for you, obviously having burned some midnight oil, as her kind of like brilliant sky blue complexion is going to be marred now by these dark, like purple streaks under her eyes that show where she has not gotten any sleep. And there is clearly a huge stack of paperworks and mining blueprints and engineering reports sitting on top of her desk that she is actively trying to pore over. And as you enter, she will at once express both kind of this sigh of relief as well as also this unfortunate sort of okay, so this is starting earlier than I had thought, but please
long
come
night,
in.
You got a long night, or?
There are many concerns at the moment, and I have been getting behind in some of the more administrative duties of my position. I've had to try as best I can to send out letters this morning. I was up all night writing. I'm worried about Wesdrin's report of the troll activity, and I've spoken to some of the other heads of the mining companies, or at least I will have in about 5 to 10 minutes when my letters arrive. I'm hoping to hear back from them before midday. I don't think that this is a discussion that can get put off at all, and on top of that, I think we're going to need all the help we can get when dealing with this. It sounds like by his report, and I was waiting to confirm this from the lot of you, that while there is a sizable raiding band gathered there, you did not see among them the leader that you were trying to find, indicating that likely there is yet another encampment, yet further still, somewhere out in the wilderness gathering forces against us at this very time. Is
That's
this
correct.
also your...
However, I do have some more information. I was able to go inside the encampment a little further than Western was, so I do have some more information for you. While we did not find what seemed to be a leader, I do have lots of evidence of an expansion of forces, empty tents with beds, empty tents altogether, as well as many stones and what seems to be some ritual in the process of being started. Stones arranged in an arch. I came across a tent with a sacrificial blade and blood and liquid over everywhere, and it had some heavy magic on it.
This is concerning. All of these things, however, I ask, do you have a final opinion on in terms of their use? Do you understand the purpose that their leader has here? I am still grasping for how we might try to disrupt his plot or discourage his presence here. If we could somehow either placate them or simply get rid of whatever it is that they're trying to find, I would hope that that might cause him to move on in his ambitions and perhaps turn his troll raiders against the nearby orcs or goblin clans that similarly occupy this valley west of here. Do you have anything like that that I might make use of?
Unfortunately, that's all the information Western and the rest of us could gather. Although we don't have the specific plan of the leader, this camp was heavily guarded, many patrols, and it seems that what they're guarding is this ritual. There were cages with prisoners and evidence of them being sacrificed, and that with the stone arch, it seems like they might be opening a portal to somewhere, or they're definitely guarding something dark.
This is concerning indeed. I would ask you all to remain, or at least to be close at hand, as I expect there to be a council no later than perhaps early supper this very day. I don't know exactly who all will respond to my requests to meet, but I have communicated to them as best I can that this is a matter of the utmost importance, and that we will also be speaking with some of the more respected members of the guard, even though I must say, as of late, Fog Iron Landing has been rather short on supply for men-at-arms.
Miss Victoria, if you want my personal opinion about what they're doing, with what we analyze, the chieftain of those roles is from the Feywild, maybe a Durkin Fey or something. And if the pieces in my head match correctly, I think he may want to go home. But it's just my opinion. I don't have many facts for it, but maybe he's amassing the resources to go home.
So you think likely this troll is trying to find entrance to the Feywild, the realm of the the Harmonious and the Golden Fae, the ones who would aid our crops and our trees and help us live in harmony? Or do you think that this troll is trying to return to the Shadow Plains?
Look at Rydell, thinking about what they told me about the Fae. They found and say, I unfortunately don't really know, but I still think that they are opening a portal for the Feywild. It may be the shadow version of it or the golden version of it. Unfortunately, I have no idea. I don't have enough proof right now. It's just you could call it an educated guess, if you will.
I would ask you to share these guesses with those who gather here later as well. All of this information might do well to startle them into some action, though I need no convincing as to the resources that I'm willing to invest to make sure that this operation we have here and this township remains safe. I think that you will find that when you get 4 to 5 different business people together, it is going to be rather difficult for the lot of us to not try to leverage our needs in this situation, knowing that all of us depend on all of us, and thus trying to exploit one another, given the fact that we will be asking likely for favors in the terms of either financial commitment or soldiers who might help us fight against these trolls.
Could I do an insight check on her just to, I guess, trying to figure out how much I trust her, or if I'm getting any, like, if I'm convinced that, like, all what she's saying is true and she's, like, for the good of the people rather than kind of for nefarious purposes.
Okay, go ahead and give me an insight check, please. All right, you, with both her kind of generous upfront dealings in the platinum that she was willing to give you the day before, as well as what has seemed to be a genuine concern for the safety of her people, you get the sense that she is on the up and up. You have no reason to not trust her. I mean, she is someone who is tasked with at the end of the day, creating a profit for her company back, wherever their main branch might be located. But it seems that this person recognizes the, necessary aspects of community development for infrastructure.
I do have one additional piece of information for you. I was able to free a prisoner in the encampment, and the prisoner I was able to free was a Fae. They were able to escape with me and have plans to meet me back here at some point today.
This does change things considerably. Do you, by chance, think that they might be compelled to speak later at this event of whoever I am capable of gathering? It would certainly lend credence to your stories, as I can tell you now that many of them will try to discredit or disbelieve your words under the guise that you are merely my mercenaries trying to force their cooperation with your lives.
What we were saying is definitely true. If they're able to make it here, I'd like to speak to them first and kind of get their information, and I can definitely ask if they'd like to join us, but as I don't know them very well, I can't make any promises.
Okay.
Olta, you had something to show them, right? The thing.
Yes, I just didn't want to interrupt the conversation. So I tell her what we found last night and show her what it is and what they felt about it. So see if she's ever seen anything like this before.
So with that, she is going to actually, hold on really quick. Are you just going to tell her about this, or are you going to peel the dirt off and really show her the kind of crystal and quartz substance underneath?
I I would show her if I can.
Okay. Oh, no, absolutely. I'm just for the sake of her reaction to it. Based on her check, which seems to be fairly exceptional, she is going to be aghast, and you see instantly she starts to step away from that. And she says, "You must get that away from us. That stone cannot reside here in this office. You should not be touching it. Where did you come into possession of this?"
It was in my bed in the inn.
What is this thing?
I have seen this before. It's a very rare substance. What you are holding in your hands is known as miner's morn. It's the remnants, oftentimes, of those who have died in accidents, collapses of tunnels, accidental flooding of substructures, or even being struck by some of the mine carts or the debris. It is a cursed substance. Likely within it dwells, if not one, but multiple spirits, most of which are assumed to be dissatisfied with their death. If it finds its way to your possession for too long, you will find that it is a bearer of ill omens. Pockets of these things, if it's discovered, oftentimes the entire mine shaft is collapsed. Sometimes the mining operations are abandoned entirely. It's known to affect areas for miles. This thing can... You don't understand.
Can I
Where did
destroy
this
it
sample
right
come
now?
from? You
Can
can
I-
see legitimate fear now in her eyes, not necessarily for herself, but you see that you have perhaps maybe something in your hands that threatens to, illegitimize a lot of the business going on here.
I think we found something to make your friends cooperate, don't you think?
No. Well, I was thinking maybe somebody planted it here to discredit you. I mean, it was in the inn, in a bed. If mines collapse around it, is this in your general mining area?
It would have to be something that was... well, it doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be anything. She's talking to herself now. It could have come here
I put it
from
away
another
for...
location, but in the event that it was recovered from one of the mines, whether it was ours or an adjoining operation, it is unignorable. There are grave consequences should this come from our locale and we are unable to find the source. Even if it is just a small deposit of this, it could bring doom upon so many of our workers.
Can we put the
destroy
spirits
it?
to rest?
Or destroy it in some way?
Destroying it is possible, but likely you understand that this has come from somewhere else. And destroying this, while I advise it supremely, and it should be accomplished as soon as possible, it does not solve the problem. As to your question, as to the spirits being laid to rest, I know that there are legends of these spirits manifesting, and they can be interacted with, but I have heard varying accounts from texts of them being able to be placated up to them being essentially beyond the reasonable limit and basically wrathful entities that seek to bury all around them and suffocate them in the way that they too died. You'll find that in areas that have been afflicted by this, there are not only terrible accidents, but even such things as people merely asphyxiating in the night, as if choking upon some sort of unseen obstruction, buried alive in front of all around them.
So, is there something you suggest we do with it? I don't want to put anyone here in danger.
I also do not wish to start a panic. You must understand, if rumor of this gets around, it could be just as disastrous. Were this some sort of plant brought here by one of the other mining companies, or also just anyone who might want to destabilize the presence of the townsfolk in this region, we may be playing right into their hands when there is in fact no greater worry, and this is the only specimen here. I would ask you to investigate. Could you find perhaps a likely suspect for who might have left it in your room? If it was tucked into the foot of a bed, perhaps it had maybe been forgotten about, or whoever was supposed to acquire it was late in their arrival. Maybe look at those who had stayed before, and maybe even if there is a reservation after. These names may prove beneficial in trying to sort out whether or not this is some sort of ruse or something to be legitimately concerned about. In the meantime, we have the facilities here. She is going to, we have the facilities to destroy it. We have a furnace here that we keep stoked with bits of ore and coal that have been either blessed or feature deposits of elements that are positively aligned with the higher planes. We use it to dispose of small bits of stubborn, she looks away, impurities that you sometimes find intermixed with more exceptional samples. Oftentimes, if a given patchwork of stone has been filled with exceptional metals or minerals, then there are two accompanying spots within it that are equally corrupted. Nature has a way of balancing all things, you will find, even in the substrate of hundreds of feet of cold stone.
Okay, it's fine. Let's destroy it. Honestly, I can do it right now if you want. Magic can destroy it, I hope.
Well, if she has the means to destroy it, we can let them do it, and I'll tell her that I'm more than happy to try and investigate how good I am at it, but I'll give it a shot. If the others, do y'all want to help? Like, will you investigate with?
I mean, we're
I would
we're
help
a
you
team.
investigate.
We're a team, so yeah.
Yes, I think destroying it and investigating is the wisest choice.
The one thing before we go to destroy it, Mr.
Well,
Shine is
Zethiri
going
is
to...
offering to take it from you now, so going to destroy it may not be an option, unless it's something you would like to accomplish personally.
Yes, no, not like taking it away to go destroy it somewhere else, but before we have it destroyed.
Okay.
Just sort of give her a side glance. Well, this could be destroyed. Do you have any competitors who may be equally disturbed by this being around them?
Well, certainly. Wait a minute. What are you suggesting? Are you offering to do some sort of service she will say suggestively without wanting to incriminate herself.
I mean, we could use it as bait to convince your competitors to help us with the trolls. I think that's what my friend, Mr. Shiny here, is thinking of, right?
Yes, we might be able to kill two birds with one oar, so to speak.
Well then, would you have us save it until this evening? I do not feel comfortable being the one to introduce it as a compelling factor in the discussions that will come, as I do not wish to sour my reputation here. I must continue to make my living as well as manage the lives of so many others. If
I mean,
you
it's okay.
wished to present it as a finding of your own, perhaps that I would be willing to entertain, but other than that, I would gladly take it from you now and see that thing destroyed.
I mean, I think it's okay. We find this in the troll camp anyway, so maybe it's urgent that we deal with them.
I
you
think we
think-
should only use this as a last resort. If they don't believe us, if they try to discredit us and are not.
All right, is that the party's consensus? Is everyone thinking this over? Is that... Oh no. Oh, it looks like my Discord might have crashed. Oh, one moment. Sorry, folks. It does look that way. I'm going to get my Discord back up and going. Small tech
And then
problems
seems
this
to be
evening.
waiting for something. I
Okay,
don't
there
remember
we go.
him saying
Hey,
that.
everybody. It looks like my
There we go.
Discord crashed on me. I did not catch it until I was just like, I asked a question and then there was just no
Is
response.
that the party's consensus?
Reach a consensus?
I saw that
Well-
happen on Twitch, and then we are all gone.
All right, excellent. All right, so
I was telling them before it's a consensus. I was telling them that Alta doesn't agree with it, but she's not going to speak out against them. She'll just keep quiet. She doesn't want a part of it, though.
all right, so Ulta is going to, but you'll relinquish the stone from your presence.
Yes.
Okay. When you do that, go ahead and give me another wisdom saving throw. All right, noted.
This should be
You
great.
are not going to otherwise like feel the effects of that, like what I was describing earlier about how you were like moving in a correct fashion and as if there was some sort of a friend that you were on the way to meet. As you relinquish this stone, you now feel this sense of woe beginning to mount in you. And you're not sure what will come of it, but it seems as if to lay atop your soul like a thin veneer, a malaise almost, that you worry may have more than just an emotional component. There almost seems like there's something compelling you and bringing this woe to your heart. Though it will not result in any immediate penalties, you're not suffering from anything at the moment. You fear that should this feeling grow, Ulta, that there may begin to soon be problems.
Since I know what they discovered with the magic and everything, would I be aware enough to be able to let them know what I was feeling about it?
You would be aware enough to let them know. However, without any sort of concrete evidence, all you have really to offer the group is just how bad you feel about this. If you wish to make your case compelling, please, by all means, don't let me speak for you. But other than that, it's just sort of, there's no direct mechanic or compulsion mechanism or time frame. It's as if there is just now this like rumbling of a faint, of a far off storm cloud that will be making its way towards you one day ever so slowly, and you just don't know what direction it's coming from.
Okay. So I express it in telling them that I just feel like this whole thing is wrong. I don't think we should be using it like this, or, you know.
You sure about that, Tota?
Yeah, I just don't feel right about this whole thing.
I think
It doesn't feel like the right direction.
I think the Fae should be more than enough to convince any doubting parties. I think there's no reason to mess with dark magic. If we have the option to destroy it, I think we do it.
Zeta, destroy it. But first, I'm just gonna memorize what it looks like, if you, for scribe, if I could.
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead and give me an Arcana check, and that'll just determine how quickly you might be able to recognize it in the future.
All right.
The higher this is, the lower the check in the future would be. The only reason I would not give it to you automatically is because this thing is, again, kind of obscured by the fact that it's set into another rock of some kind, so you're not actually getting a look at this crystal in its pure form. With a 23, that is an excellent roll, and you feel very confident that in the future you will be able to immediately sort of tell this crystal by its dark luster, as once you begin to inspect the interior of it, it seems as if there are these like very specific forms of like refracted light in its inclusions. It seems to have these almost like bubbles trapped inside of its crystalline form. It's got a very peculiar look to it, and with that and the accompanying feel that you as a wizard get from so much of your experience holding various objects that radiate these sorts of odd magical energies, much like kind of sensing a current in an object, you feel like you will not mistake this one in the future.
I say to Rydell, if your friend doesn't work, and then I look at the rock, I have a backup plan even without this.
Okay.
Alright.
So you are then going to relinquish the stone for Zetheria to destroy. You are not going to attempt to keep it around as some sort of bargaining chip?
Yeah.
Yeah, destroy it.
Okay, got it. I just double checking. So with that, Zetheria will place it inside of a metal lockbox. There are several that she keeps near her desk. Some of them likely empty, and many of them likely containing things of similar value, but hopefully not like possessed with the ghosts of dead miners. And with that, she is going to ring a bell and summon one of the clerks from the outside hallway, who will take this with a small writ that she is going to quickly sign and then stamp, and they will take this down to the forge and have it destroyed. And past that, they will disappear from your sight. Now, Zetheria, having kind of dealt with this as a shock, is going to begin to calm down, and picking up a cup of what looks to be either like some sort of like cold tea of some kind, say, okay, that being dealt with, I expect that we will be meeting again sometime in the early eve. Until then, is there anything that I can do for the lot of you? I have knowingly already rendered payment for the job performed. However, I do feel if there was some small favor that you needed, I would be happy to perform it for you, whether it is pocket change for the day, or do you need room and board for the evening? Is there some gesture of kindness I might extend to you and your group?
I whispered to Gale, do you still need that heavy crossbow?
I have just a question for her.
Yes, certainly.
Do you happen to know of a local surveyor named Eremiah Upri?
Eremiah. She is going to consult her memory.
That's all I got my notebook, man.
It seems that Eremiah, that name rings a bell. I believe he is responsible. Well, maybe I couldn't tell. It might have been someone with a similar name, but there is a nearby mining operation, not on the cliff face that we operate on, but and I'm going to sort of scroll over on the chat there, or on the map. It seems as if my last report of him operating would be over here on this mining encampment. Make sure the stream can see one that I'm pointing to. It is known by the name of the Find Claw. Let me spell that. The Find Claw mining operation, they, well, are known to take some rather serious shortcuts, and we try to keep our employees from associating with them, as oftentimes those who take shortcuts are encouraging of others to do the same and discouraging of the consequences that they may yet yield. What business do you have with Ermeyer? If you needed a prospector of some kind, I could supply you with many.
One who has any experience with suffering salt, perhaps?
With this, you're going to see the facial expression of Zytheria begin to sour as she says, I'm sorry. I'm beginning to have a little trouble understanding. You five say that you are here working to try and help these townsfolk, yet it seems that there are many evil things that you have an interest in. Suffering salt is a sulfurous deposit that forms in certain springs that have been influenced by the abyssal planes themselves. They only accrue on cavern walls over very long periods of time. Are you... What need of you do you have for suffering salt? It is a terrible thing. It causes lifetimes of agony.
I was afraid that this might in some way be the cause of the stone we brought you.
Go ahead and give me a deception roll on that one.
Yeah.
All right, that 16 is going to be enough to cut it. It seems as if Zytheria is not going to question that. She's just going to sort of shake her head. Fine. But, Ermeyer, back to the subject. Do you have need of a prospector?
Oh, no, my guild had questions for him, maybe likely due to some of those shortcuts, so they just wanted me to chat with him.
Ermeyer.
Miss Zytheria,
Yeah?
I'm sorry if we caused you trouble. You really need some sleep. My advice as a wizard and a scholar is you shouldn't come to this meeting with a head full of mishmash thinking and notes. So take some rest and be refreshed when you come back to us and to your competitors to make your point more, well, more more important, if you will. I mean, imagine if they see you like this and say something like that that you're too sleepy to be thinking clearly. Think of your appearances.
Don't you think she looks tired?
She really does.
I appreciate your concern, but at a certain point, one begins to wear the bags on their face with pride. I am responsible for managing those who toil endlessly underneath the most dangerous and adverse of conditions. If I do not appear tired, it would be the same as if appearing that I have given up on them. I appreciate what you are saying, but appearances go both ways.
I'll say, I wish to use you for no evil deeds or favors. As adventurers, we're always looking to increase our gear quality and supplies. Some pocket change and a room for tonight would be much appreciated.
Excellent. Make sure to just put it on the tab of the guild. As far as pocket change is concerned, here, she is going to produce from a desk at her, a drawer at her desk, a coin purse that has been obviously sealed and sort of pre-portioned, and she will say, "This is a standard that we issue to our caravans for overland expenses. I hope that you will find it generous enough for anything that you might have at the time. I believe it's something to the range of about 80 gold, and she will toss it to you, Rydell, as you were the one who took her up on that offer."
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alta just wants to tell her she has the heart of a dwarf.
She will
I
nod
think
and say, if only. I find my heritage grossly mismatched for the industry that I am possessed of, but at the end of the day, there is a certain mystique to the things that we find that I think I could not turn away from. Though the wind and sky are the calling of my people, it is almost the extreme of its opposite that I am enticed by. Thank you. I will take that as a compliment.
I think we should go now. If my companions, are you done with questioning and asserting our current situation?
Yes. We will return later tonight.
All right.
Good afternoon.
I may
Mr.
send for you earlier than that. I ask you to please stay nearby. I have runners in the town, and I know not what time that the other miners may consent to meeting. It may be later in the evening, or it may be far earlier, depending upon their schedules.
Yeah, we'll be around.
All right.
We stay here, don't worry.
Thank you. Please. Wesdrin is available to aid you in any way that he can while you are making your way about town today. Past that, you will likely see more of him in the future should you continue to be involved in what I'm sure will only be the escalation of these matters.
I don't think we need him right now. Thank you for the offer, though.
She will nod, and with that, Wesdrin will show you out of the offices and release you to your own recognizance as you now have the run of Fog Iron Landing with a little bit of fresh pocket change, a small thank you from Zetheria in exchange for having set in motion what will likely be this events that hopefully save this very town and also allow her company to continue profiting mightily from the excavations here. With that, you're going to find yourselves out of doors in basically the early morning. It's still about 10 o'clock local time. The midday sun has yet to even really begin to creep up, and here in this lowland valley, as you're more familiar with, the mist tends to be fairly dense, almost to the point that it's as if a canopy over the forest itself. Though the surroundings might be drab and of basically like verdant green and foggy blue, there are still the general stores. There's a blacksmith. Are there any supplies that you'd like to purchase? What's the next course of action for the group?
I mean, my first question is just sighing a lot. Oh, God, good goddesses, that almost went poorly. Suffering salt, really?
I'd like to see if I could find
That's
it.
what the guild was interested in as well.
Oh god damn it! What organization I'm in? God, I don't know a lot about our guild actually. I mean,
Things have changed since you joined.
yeah,
Perhaps.
yeah, and I changed after I joined too.
You certainly have.
I would like to go back to the inn to try and find out about how that ended up in my bed.
All right. Certainly. And if we're not splitting right now, I will just go ahead and follow that line of inquiry. Is there anything else that everyone wants to do while that's going on? In
I'd
tandem,
like to see if I
or-
could find a cheap half plate at the blacksmith.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Rydell actually.
All right. So you're going with Rydell. Is anyone going with Ulta, or are there other tasks at hand?
I'll return with Ulta too. The
Okay.
crystals are interesting.
So I'll handle the half plate exchange rather quickly, as there's not much there, and then I will proceed with Ulta's investigation as to how she may have either purposefully or accidentally come upon this highly cursed object. Now, you're looking for you said cheap half plate?
Yes, I can trade in scale mail.
All right. If you are willing to trade in your scale mail, it looks like this is going to start at a bargaining of they will do half plate for $6.75.
Alright, no way. Yeah, I don't have enough. Could I see how much it would be to trade in a mace for a masterwork mace?
To trade in a mace for a masterwork mace, you would be looking at approximately about 70 gold.
Okay, I'll say, would you be able
Go
to?
ahead.
Would you be able to do 55? We are. I'm not sure if you've heard, but we're with the Guild of Mazes, and we're here trying to trying to deal with the mistral problem, and this would only aid to help you.
All right. Now, with that, go ahead and give me a oh god, persuasion roll. That's the one. And
I'll try to help. So I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
roll first. I'm gonna roll first.
got it. Yeah, go ahead and roll. See if you can aid. Oh, well, you know,
Oh no!
fortunately, that is one of the only rolling to aid is one of the only situations in which a critical failure does not necessarily
Thank
really
God.
destroy you. You do not aid, but in this situation, you didn't need to, as it looks like that natural 20 persuasion check is with realization of who you are. The blacksmith will say, "Well, you know, Not that it's anything too important, but it was one of my brothers was out in the crowd a couple nights ago when those things came out of the fog. Said you lot ran into battle out of the inn half-dressed. Killed all 3 of those creatures before they were able to, well, finish what they had started. He lost someone close to him that night, but I'm damn thankful he's still here. And with that, you will find yourself in the a free ownership of a masterwork mace +1.
Nice.
Thank you for your generosity. I hope I can use it to save more people.
Me as well. Me as well. If you lot ever need something, I'm not the greatest, but if it's practical and hard and steel and used to kill a troll, I'll give you a discount.
Thank you. Well, make sure to let the rest of my companions know.
All right. With that,
Would you like to ride out real quick?
I'm here.
Right. So, what do you think of Mr. Shade right now?
Mr. Shade?
Mr. Shine, sorry.
Oh, I thought you were just making a joke.
My mind slipped.
Because Shine almost caused Zetheria to turn sour on all of you. So
no, I was joking. Inel was joking. I'm just trying to.
I get you.
I'm not the brain.
I met Mr. Shine. Sorry.
Oh, I haven't gotten much of a read on him yet, but I hope that anything nefarious is not gonna come back to poorly reflect on us.
I hope so, because honestly, I'm having some doubts. Suffering salt, interest in a rock we both said was kind of evil.
We are in an interesting guild that employs us.
I mean, yeah. What's the guild purpose with that? I don't think I should. I think I should ask them about it, but I don't think they will trust me. But nice job on the mace. So now we're gonna save more people.
Yes, so
Because that's what the guild of maces do. Help people. I say as a kind of look down. And I just continue walking with the Rydell.
Okay. With that, we will cut back over to Ulta and Mr. Shade, as it were, heading into the inn that now, as you look up at the sign and you see that it's called Miner's Morrow, or Morrow, as in the shorthand for tomorrow, you can't help but feel this sort of sense of irony, as this was the very place that you discovered the very first sample of Miner's Morn. Something that could not be more similar in sound, but more opposite in terms of intent. This being a lively hub of hospitality for the folks of Fog Iron Landing, and that stone, perhaps the very doom that will come to one day befall this town. Inside, after having spent a little bit of time both going to and coming from and discussing with Zetheria, you will find that much of the morning crowd here has moved on. Instead, now it is only the, I guess, kind of the day drinkers, if you will, the residents of the town, more familiar with each other and less I guess, concerned with just downing their porridge before they're off to a hard day's work at the mines or to return back to Hope's Rise to the north of here. These folks seem to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more pliant. They don't seem to be in any hurry. And in a similar way, the servers don't seem, and the barkeep don't seem to be bending over backwards to, check on them at every moment. There's a very idle air here at the Morrow. What would you like to do?
I would like to, I guess, the innkeep or barkeep. I'd like to see if I can find out who either does housekeeping on the rooms or who had it before me, or if there's going to be, like she said, if there's a reservation for later. I don't know if they'll want to give me that information, but I can try.
Certainly. I guess we'll just kind of just take that a piece at a time. What's the first thing that you're asking of them?
I would like to tell them that, I found something in my room that might have belonged to the person that was there before me. Do they know who was there?
All right. That is true. So that's in no way a deception. Go ahead and give me a persuasion check as you attempt to sort of ply the barkeep and see what she might know.
Is Mr. Shade with me?
Mr. Shade is there.
Yeah, I am.
Could you? I have no charisma. Would you assist me?
Yes, I think my my glistening scales might allow you to benefit from the illustrious shine that my personality provides.
Okay, now go ahead. That's your persuasion check. Ulta, go ahead and give me a roll to aid Halasoon, and then we'll see if you're able to grant her advantage. Though 14 is not bad. All right, 13, that is enough to grant advantage. So Ulta, go ahead and see what that second roll yields. It may be better, but 14's hard to beat, especially when you don't have any bonuses. All right, 11. Okay, so with that 14... and judging by this innkeep's look, they're going to say, well, was it anything valuable?
I think more sentimental.
No.
That's a lie, though.
Well, if they come looking for it, we can keep it here behind the bar.
Well, the thing is it's already kind of in a safe place. I just wanted to know maybe if we knew who it might have belonged to.
Should I leave their name for you? For them? Should they return? That way they can contact you about this missing property?
That would work too. I'll leave my name.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah.
That was just the first of your questions. I mean, where are you going to continue
And
to
just
press
the
to see
most
if you can
recent
get the
person.
name of a reservation?
Well, with how I worded it, I don't know that I can get that from the barkeep. But I can try.
All right, go ahead and give me another persuasion check to see if she'll answer this question, though she seems to already not... You will have advantage on this as well, as you're still sort of under the effect of Halasoon's aid, so go ahead and roll again. 10. All right. She is going to say, well, I can't give you any names. That would be inappropriate for a lot of reasons, but I can tell you that there is a reservation, which is peculiar. We don't have a lot of those here, for obvious reasons. What with us being one of the most remote inns in all of Eidolon. It's scheduled for about, I think, and she will flip open the guest book, and let me check here.
Can I peek at it?
You certainly may. Go ahead and give me a perception check
Oh,
to see if you can
definitely.
get a peek. All right, with that, though, you will be able to, kind of see... Oh, and Halasoon, I see your perception. So 20, you will be able to catch it at an angle that, while the barkeep is trying to make sure that Ulta can't see anything, they end up sort of revealing it to you. And you will see her name stop on no other than... Let me make sure I get this right. There is no last name listed. It just says Vasker, and then there's an L and a period, so it's a last initial. Vasker space L. And as she stops at that, she will look up and say, "Oh, that's curious. I didn't realize. I thought the time had gotten away. It looks like they will be here in about a day's time. Not this evening, the following one. But that's odd. I could have sworn... Did they reschedule recently?"
Laura, I don't think we can hear you.
All right. With that... Oh, yeah, Muller, what was that perception check for?
I think you're muted, Muller.
Oh, no. I was going to say, it had been a while since I had heard something. I hope the Discord isn't just giving him trouble. I'll hold that for a second, in the idea that if there was something about this scene that Gale wanted to observe, but in the meantime, I am going to continue to sort of move forward here for a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. What was that perception for?
We lost you again.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
I hated a natural 20 to go to waste. I mean, obviously we've already gotten the name out of the book, but if there was something else there,
Can you write it in chat so I can read it?
Okay. I'm gonna give Gale a
He's
second.
gonna write.
Then it looks like. Okay.
So
You're just looking at the book also. That natural 20 you'll see a lot. The thing that you'll notice most, I guess, is so Vasker is checking in a day's time, and it looks like there is a rather large party that will be renting out this inn in the future. And Gale, it looks like they will be taking almost all of the rooms, and it seems to be some sort of like guild function, but you don't know for what guild. It just says those words, guild function, and then you see a line drawn through almost a week and a half's worth of time. But with
Oh my goodness.
that is really the only other thing of note you see like at that book. And now, also, I just heard you for a second there. You were just
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
yes.
Oh
Crystal-
my goodness. Okay. good.
Crystal clear.
So there's a guild function happening for the next couple of weeks, and I managed to see that, right? In
Yes,
the book?
yes. For what guild you are unsure, however. There doesn't seem to be a name listed. But those are the only other, that's the only like real important piece of information you can gather. Everything else seems to be oh wait, no, I'm sorry. There's also, with that natural 20, you would be able to see the name of the occupant who had been in the room prior, as that was also one of the ones that you were trying to find. And being able to snatch a pair of initials out of the like small check-in column, it looks like though this person did not sign their full name, they did leave their initials with one R.M. And judging by, and again with the natural 20 perception, judging by the flourishes written, you would suspect that whoever R.M is likely either very fluent and had been in Elven and had been raised around that calligraphy and writing style, or either that or maybe perhaps like comes from some sort of like aristocracy, based on the fact that it seems to have like a very fine calligraphy to it, and the way that it sort of loops and curls sort of suggests that to you. All right,
Very interesting.
that information the book doesn't yield anything in regards to any Inverus clergy. Are you merely asking her, like the barkeep, about that?
No, I'm just letting you know. I'm keeping my eyes and ears open for any if there's anything that I see about that.
Gotcha.
I want to keep an eye out for it.
Noted. So with that and those crucial pieces of information learned, Ulta, is there anything else that you wanted to do? I mean, you're kind of the one spearheading this investigation at the moment.
No, I'm assuming if they let me know this stuff, then that'll be a good start to asking. I forgot her name. The minor.
Zictoria.
Yes, thank you, Anel.
No problem. I come in.
All right. Excellent. So with that, boom, boom. Is there anything else the guild wants to do before you just kind of are killing time, awaiting for either contact from the rescued Fae or for the runners from the Cloud Forge to come and contact you?
Yeah.
Actually, real quick, I would like to check the other room as well and the rest of our room to see if there's any more of that in there.
Okay. In
And I'll
which
just be
case,
walking.
Good idea.
that will be an investigation check. There is enough ground to cover there. Either people can roll to aid her, and you can go one by one through the rooms. That will take the longest amount of time. Or you can all roll your separate investigation checks and, and basically kind of accomplish it all in a much shorter amount of time.
I'm gonna walk around just like the town center, just kind of exploring and waiting and looking for the Fae.
Okay.
I'll help looking as well.
Alright, you're
not
investigating?
aid, but I will investigate myself.
Got it?
I'll help look in the room for the more of that stuff.
All right. Ooh. Investigate. Tearing your rooms apart, you don't find any more like clods of dirt inside of any of the mattresses. You don't find any what seem to be false bottoms in any of the dresser drawers or the closets. There are really, it doesn't seem to be any concealed objects. Because of this inn's relative, like, sort of humble nature, there just isn't much furniture or much place that one could conceal these things. There's not a lot of, like, elaborate, like, crown moldings on the armoire kind of thing. These are not four-poster beds with, canopies that you could conceal things in. There's very little room here, unless they're somehow, stashing it between the space of the wash bin and the floor. That doesn't seem like you can find anything really of note. I will say with that 8 investigation, you are going to find that it looks like whoever has been cleaning your room, Ulta, has probably not been doing the best job, as in your course you do find like just a little bit of like, lint and rubbish and this and that and like dust in the corners, but that's the only thing you turn up.
Okay, fair enough. Then that's pretty much all I wanted to do. So.
All right. It's much the same with the rest of you. Halasoon, your 2 investigation brings you to the edge of a point where, like, you feel that maybe the only safe thing to do is to search all of the rooms. Like, in the inn.
That's sort of what I thought we might get to anyway.
Whether or not you will feel comfortable sleeping until that's happened, we will figure out at a later date, as that 2 investigation has instilled a certain amount of paranoia in you, as you now think about all of the places that one could conceal a stone in the walls or underneath the floorboards. Or, I mean, what if they baked a teapot and they put a false bottom in the teapot, and then because of the clay, you would never... And those sorts of things are really starting to rattle around inside of your mind. Now...
Imagine if it was a natural 1, we've been going crazy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no kidding.
With
If
that, so Gale, Halasoon, and Ulta are all tearing apart the rooms, trying to see if there's anything that they might have missed, and our companion, Rydell, is sort of awaiting the Fae's arrival, trying to make themselves visible in the town center. Inel, what are you doing at this time?
Just throwing Rydell and
Okay.
talking.
You're hanging out with Rydell then?
You Do you think she wants you to meet them alone, or?
Didn't say anything. They said they'd find me. I'm just making myself visible. I mean, you were associated. I don't think they would fear you.
I mean, I caused the bank that made you free them, if I understand correctly. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's no reason why you shouldn't be here.
All right. Then from there, we are going to pass a couple hours until finally, at last, as if kind of like a piece of lens flare piercing through the canopy fog of the sky above that seems to just flash and then distort and descend towards you. You are in just a brief moment going to go from having been just idly looking around the town square to now in front of you, standing not the almost emaciated and tortured looking creature that you had seen, whose wings had been likely either torn or cut from its back, instead now replenished and accompanied by a set of crystalline wings that seem to wrap around her as if wrap around them as if a flowing dress. They are going to greet you, and much to the shock of the townsfolk around Rydell, they will extend a hand and say, "My savior, I told you that I would meet you again, and I would be bearing at least some amount of good omen for your service. Thank you."
Can I check, please, if I may?
At this time, you're more than welcome to. In her outstretched hand, Rydell, you are going to see what looks to be the blossom plucked from a flower, except this thing does not seem to be composed of the sort of the delicate plant matter, but almost as if folded out of the thinnest sheets of gold and silver that you've ever seen in your entire life. The working of this thing and the gilding of the interior of the leaves is beyond compare. With a 25 Arcana check, you are going to be able to gather that this Fae standing in front of you is particularly powerful. She has all of the hallmarks of what you would come to know are usually associated with those who are servants of the Archfey. The Archfey being those who basically govern the Feywild and the Shadow Plains for better or for worse. The Archfey typically have servants that are sort of this resounding, androgynous beauty, and are typically identified by their wing spread. In the Fey realm, usually within the mythos of Eidolon, the acquiring of one's wings and then the facets that those have over time basically kind of indicate usually one's power. Seeing how she has both a set of wings that are still on her back and outspread, as well as the secondary set which is currently concealing her form, you can tell that this creature has earned its stripes, if you will, amongst those in the Feywild, and likely commands some great respect. She introduces herself as Yanasia, and with that, we are about 2 minutes from the break, so before we get into this conversation and have to cut it off after Rydell asks his first question and I give no answers, we will leave our players here in this state of both investigation on one behalf and now almost kind of stunned silence for a moment as there is this flaring creature of crystalline beauty standing in front of you with a gift far beyond the makings of any mortal hand, Rydell. And with that, to all of those out there who are watching right now, thank you so much. To our fans, our contestants, and our patrons, and any of the newcomers who have wandered into the channel, please remember that this is not just a D&D game you are watching, but it is a Dungeons & Dragons game show where there are real cash prizes, and at the end of the night, one of our contestants is going to go home with a precious stone of their choosing. Of course, there are a number of things that could happen, and all kinds of people could die, and new players could be picked before the end of the night, or the entire party could survive. You'll have to stay tuned to find out on this episode of So You Think You Can Quest. Hello. If you're watching this, likely you're not joining us live at 6 p.m. on Sundays or Tuesdays, Pacific Standard Time, when you could be a part of the action as a fan or a contestant deeply invested in the adventure and the ever-growing cash prize surrounding it. As I speak, I believe the prize sits at almost $570 to be split between the surviving members of the first team to make it across any of the many thresholds that lead to the first floor of the dungeon that sits underneath Hope's Rise. You could be one of them, or you could be responsible for one of those teams making it to victory through your prior contributions, or you could say damn it all and mislead the adventurers to their doom.
There's a bullet down there, I ain't scared. She lighten this cue, split in two, reduce to deuce. I can't lose. Go ahead, boy, make a move, cause you're fired up on the slide. I don't need no modifier to compensate. It's too late, I saw so he done sealed your fate, cause I'm rolling 20s like a 68 Impala. AC doesn't matter, critical damage from my warhammer. I told the big two against every single front that crossed my balls of my mighty blow. I lay 'em low, yes I lay 'em low.
We are back. It looks like our Dragonborn druid is busy making themselves a sandwich. However, at the same time, the action is entirely in Rydell and Inel's court right now, as they are the ones who... I just realized all of the characters have L's in their names right now. That's funny to me. Anyway, they are the ones in the thick of it, as they have just sort of been almost like stunned now by the sudden descent of this fey creature who has now, with this display of radiance, presented herself and this gift to Rydell, much to the shock and silent awe of the surrounding townsfolk who are watching this happen. Rydell, what are you gonna do? I mean, you're the one sort of at the center of this for the moment.
I'll look down and say, thank you, this is beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. What is it?
It is a blossom from those that grow around the thrones of the Archfey. It is a golden thing, this bud that I bring you, and hopefully you will find that its blessings are enough to steward you through the difficult tasks that are soon to come. you will find that if you are to take up cause against these trolls, you will find no peace, as they have powerful allies, and they have managed to get quite far, further than you know. Please, this is somewhat of a spectacle for my kind, as she will motion around to the townsfolk who are clearly gawking at this point. Might we retire to some place a bit more private? One of these fields should suffice.
Yes,
I do not feel comfortable on display in such a manner in front of your kind.
of course. I was just about to suggest the same thing. I'll look around for a place where we could talk more privately.
All right. There are several fields that are cloaked in fog embankments that would do suitably to allow you to converse with this Fae without anyone really being effectively able to see you or hear you.
I
And-
have a dome. I think I
Oh,
could
yeah?
I could make a secret dome if you want. I say as I'm completely mushing my words because there's almost an arch in front of me.
I think a field should suffice fine.
Sure.
I'll head towards the closest one.
With that, you will see that she both shrinks in size as well as disappears from the visual spectrum with this glimmer that leaves her as transparent as the air around her. Though you can feel still this presence nearby, and you can tell that that is too an extension of her being. There is kind of this serene, I'm trying to think of reprieve, I guess, that she seems to grant those around her. You feel relaxed, calmer, certainly as if you and your companion are on the same wavelength, and that the two of you could easily conquer anything should you work together. This harmony that is this kind of ambient aura that she projects is handy in that it lets you know that she is at least nearby, even though completely invisible. Though she does not speak a word until you are once again isolated, she will reemerge now into a somewhat more humble form, no longer kind of beaming with a crystal radiance from her wings. They will instead now be all tucked down around her. Her face, though, still sort of with this almost incandescent quality to the eyes and the skin, as if obeying laws of higher geometry than simply that of the circumstance of birth, as if this creature was perhaps more sculpted than born into the world. Now, there are a number of things for us to discuss. My
Definitely.
thanks to you and your companion, she will motion to Inel. I could not have escaped and would have surely died. The trolls sought to use the power that I have been given by my birth to try and jumpstart a now closed portal to the Fey realm. They already have one gate open in a similar manner, but it is farther from town than would make for any sort of strategic position. So instead they seek to open this, and in doing so, create a well that they might draw reinforcements from. Their leader is a troll by the name of Thalakin. He is one of the Enhereshar. Your kind derives a root word, inheritor, in your common tongue, from this name. The Enherishar are a plague upon worlds. They are the balance to all that is harmonious and all that would bring kindness and beauty into the world. As the goddesses so allow the Fey realms to exist in tandem with the material and are a beautiful reflection, a more harmonious, a more peaceful and loving version of that which exists here in your material world, so too there is a mirror to ours. For every kindly sprite there must be a mischievous Nixie. And for every creature such as myself, there must be opposites as well. Thalakin is one of these. The Enherishar are considered to be among the first betrayed. This is what they see their fate as, a betrayal by the gods themselves. And they find that all must pay for their suffering. Now, Thalakin has lived among the Malfey of the Shadow Realms for some great time. He is what you would consider to be a prince of the Enherishar. They respect him due to both his age and also his power. You would know him as most akin to that of the troll here in this world. Though Thalakin's bloodlines are much closer to that of some of the originals, those who were her first betrayed, as the Fey realms were created and their golden fields woven into existence and their children given a harmonious song for their lips, so the Shadow Realms, they did reap terror from their fields. And as such, instead of the immortality that we experience as Fey, they experience a cruelty of shortness of life, and as well as malformed existence. The thing that pains me most about this is that they are not wrong in their hatreds of the world. They have truly been given an ill lot by fate itself, but yet still there is nothing to be done of the matter. Thalakin is motivating those beyond the shadow portal that they might enter this realm. And with the trolls marching as their vanguard, a force like that, you are not prepared to defeat. Say what you will about the morality of this play that we find ourselves in, they will sweep across this realm as if a tidal wave of chaos. There will be nothing left in their wake that you find familiar to the realm that you currently see. Thalakin has so far not found the strength to sustain the portals to draw through those who would swear loyalty to him. He seeks yet still something deeper within the land here, which is why he has come to Hope's Rise specifically. He seems in possession of some piece to some riddle that he feels confident will bestow him the power necessary. He is deeply obsessed with some set of doors that he has found deep within the earthen halls of the cliff faces to the north of here. Ruins surround them, and now guarded by trolls, they use this as some sort of festering ground with which they might amass their true strength and then ride forth with a cavalry of shadow creatures unlike that of which you can imagine. I know not what he seeks deep within the stone halls north of here. I know not what it is other than some sort of crystal he has spoken of. It was as if he was trying to amass some sort of power that he said was, and you must understand his words were vague, but splintered and scattered throughout the land here. He said that if he could get enough of it together, that he might be able to surpass the need to draw through his shadowy minions entirely. Thalakin has discovered something of great import that would influence the power of something that is already far beyond what you can imagine. Thalakin has an immortality like that beyond the trollkin. You would be hard-pressed to find a weapon or a spell capable of permanently wounding him. He has survived now for uncounted ages in the Shadow Realm. I'm sorry that I bring you such grim tidings, but I have spoken with my kind, and as Thalakin has similarly tried to amass an army that would be unstoppable, I have done what I can to see that the fair folk of this land, the sprites, the fairies, that they might serve should the worst come to pass.
Could you share this information with some people that we're trying to convince to help us? Do you feel confident in helping us getting goods, weapons, armies, anything to help put that end to this?
I would be willing to speak to them, certainly. Anything for the cause of this land. However, I ask you to consider that the very people you would have me beg help from are the same that are destroying so much of the natural surface. We can feel their drills and their pickaxes and the shovels that they bring to bear against the Great Spirit.
It sounds
to
like
ask them for help is something that my kind would never forget. While we surely do need it, you must understand that you are asking me to sacrifice a reputation that I may never be able to reclaim by advocating in the court of your kind, in the presence of these that would defile the natural ground upon which we stand.
Do you...
It's not.
Go ahead, Rydell.
It sounds like you've been making this army or forces of your own. If we're able to convince these people that this, we are in fact, that this is happening and that they need our help, we might be able to come to some sort of agreement on how to, or a compromise onto not destroying more of your land while still allowing the people here to survive.
If you were capable of brokering such a trust, then truly we may have something that we could all gather behind. But I warn you, these people are greedy. Your kind are short-sighted. They do not understand what they do. And you will find that for their love of gold, they are willing to sacrifice anything. I will, as the repayment of my debt to you, speak in this court of yours. But know that should things end poorly, you risk losing support amongst my kind. This is a gambit you will have to undertake, as likely these negotiations will not be simple.
Do you think your kind could help us without the help from the mining companies? And if they can, how soon could we get a force strong enough to defeat the trolls without the help of those that will arm you and arm this planet and this place?
I cannot say. My kind are willing to fight, but they are small in number. Hope's Rise and its surrounding wilderness is a place of much great and twisted evil. We are already hunted here by many of our natural enemies that would come to prey upon our kind. The force that I have gathered is certainly enough to make a difference in some substantial way, but we will not be able to defeat these trolls on our own. We do not have the strength. While we have the light that might obscure their mist and make them vulnerable to the truth of their own demise, we do not have the physical strength to overpower the beasts even in their weakened states.
We will do our best to try and brokerage a deal between your kind and these miners. However, if negotiations go poorly, I think I'd rather align with you and the Fae and try to find more force elsewhere.
I appreciate your concern for these issues. Your kind can often be less understanding than is ideal.
I'm sorry if I sound rude or something, but do you really believe that trying to find help to destroy a great evil would really make you sad or distraught? I mean, I get it that you don't like them, that they hurt you every day. But we're facing total destruction. And if you're not willing to risk getting your reputation in shambles for saving the world, that's a sign that maybe you're not so good. That ego haunts you.
It sounds like they're more worried about if they help save our world, it could destroy theirs.
I have seen enough come to pass that I know sometimes, no matter how resolutely a stone sinks itself into the sands, it will still be dragged out to sea by a great wave that is washing ashore.
Guess that's
As much as I would not like to see this land take a shift towards the realms of the Shadow Fae, at the same time, these things do happen in a natural ebb and flow across ages. And that means that it may be the fate of this land to become darkened and corrupted by great evils, so that it might one day be recovered by a force of good that must rise to meet these increasing odds. The rhythms of time move in such patterns, but they are so much larger than our very lives, they can be hard to see, even for those of my age and my lineage. I have yet but seen the very outskirts of the teasings of these patterns begin to emerge. It is impossible to know what age you are a part in. You can only do what you can in front of you. And I cannot sell my kind and the land that gives them the very life force that they will use to defend your kind. I cannot sell them short, and I cannot compromise in their name. And surely there are too many denizens of the Fey realm and this forest to gather for a court of the animals.
Inel starts chuckling a bit.
I'll say,
I'm from a place where we study portals and other realms. I always was fascinated with the Fae, with the good in them, the bad and the dark Fae. As all being like you could exist so powerful and so selfless. I was so wrong. If you think we cannot see the greater picture, I think that you are wrong. The fact that you only see so far, but cannot concentrate on the thing in front of you, make you lesser than us. The fact that we can have a fixed objective on something, maybe for our own gain or the gain of others that we love. I think the fact that we are ready to sacrifice everything, maybe for just 10 years of peace, make us greater and someone who has lived so long and cannot see the person in front of them and just see the place around them. As I end, I leave while crying a bit.
Okay.
As he leaves, I'll say, my companion, while is associated with me, surely does not speak for me and the rest of my companions. With what we have in front of us, what do you recommend we do?
That is a question to which I am unsure I can answer. My guidance would be to work with what resources you have and see if we might make the people of this landing listen. For if they do not, it will cost them their lives. Your companion is not wrong. I do not mean to upset him. It is merely that in his passion to protect those that he sees around him, I have the same want to preserve not only the people, but the very ideals that my kind stand for, as we see them greater than any individual life itself, even our own. Now, this may be one of the differences between the realms of harmony and the realms of the material. But we will have to find a compromise of some kind, lest we all perish. So please, if you need summon me, I guess here. And she is going to bestow upon you a small friend stone. This stone is capable of messaging the person that it is tied to. It bears a level 1 glyph of power in the shape of the radiant or the high glyph of friendship, and she informs you that this can be used to contact me, though I may not always be able to arrive to aid you in whatever task is at hand. My powers are stretched thin these days, and the hours are short for the task that I must accomplish. But yet I will make time this eve. Should you need me to plead my case, I will. However, I will only go so far.
I understand. I'd be more than happy and willing to try to broker some sort of compromise. What terms would you need to see in order to make you and your kind comfortable?
We wish to see the mining operations here cease entirely. They have already extracted so much from this land. The tunnels that they have created stretch for miles beneath you. Do not let them deceive you into thinking that we are somehow being unreasonable. They have taken so much from this land already. There is going to be no end to their greed. We ask that they find a different way to make a living here amongst these forested lands, whether or not it is something that we can facilitate as denizens and perhaps live in a greater harmony together. My kind might be able to see to that, but I fear that you will be speaking to those who are here on behalf of companies that do not care for the locale or the lives that are being affected around them. I would be willing to accept a negotiation, perhaps, of a Sabbath day in which the operations ceased, and my kind might know some reprieve, at least from their pain.
I understand the greed of my kind, and I will surely do what I can to try and see what I can do. If we're unable to convince them, would you be willing to continue working with the guilds to try and see if there's another way to solve these problems in front of us?
You have my gratitude, and that is something that does not come lightly. I will do what I can to bring these events to a peaceful close for all of those involved. But for my kind, peace means the preservation of a way of life, not a single act.
Thank you. I don't want to waste any more of your time. We're expected to meet with one of the mining operations that hired us to investigate the troll camp we freed you from, and we're meeting with them tonight. So I will contact you when this happens.
Thank you.
And I'll head back to the town.
All right. Arriving back at the town, is going to take but 15, 20 minutes. That conversation, though, I mean, in real time, took about a half an hour, almost 40 minutes. So in Ulta, Halasoon, and Gale, your investigations having turned up little in that time, was there anything else that you wanted to set about trying to accomplish, or are you merely going to await the return of your companions and see what the best move forward is from there?
I would actually like to use my Zodiac Moon ability and just take a minute or two and reassess it, and then do my search with advantage this time.
Okay, go ahead and roll with advantage by use of your Zodiac Moon, the investigative phoenix. One of the many custom mechanics on display here in both the world and format of So You Think You Can Quest.
I given some. Oh, that's a natural 20.
That is a natural 20.
Nice.
Go for it.
And a 2. I love the range there. So that natural 20 is going to, after investigating your room and the rooms of the others, not really yield too much information, except for a couple important, and I think, it certainly satisfying details, in that you feel very, 100% sure that there is nothing in any of your companions' rooms that is not just an ordinary object associated with life here in the hotel, whether or not it's just linens or a spare plate and bowl instead of silverware or washing basin or that sort of thing. The other thing that you will also be able to turn up as a result of kind of going through all of this and comparing information with what Ulta has come up with and what Halasoon has come up with is that it seems like this R.M, whoever they were that left the stone in Ulta's room here, was likely staying with someone else. There seem to be signs, just slight scuff marks, things kind of out of place. You can tell by sort of the shape of the mattress, because the hard and kind of unforgiving straw seems to still have an almost more fresh imprint of another shape adjacent to it in the bed. Likely, whoever this R.M is, they are not traveling alone. Which brings you to then arrive at the idea of, well, if there was one other person in this room, who's to say whether or not the person who stayed here didn't have an entire accompanying band? Many more of the reservations from the prior night might yield more of an investigative lead as to who this person was or what their intent might have been. Let alone, it means that you could also probably find whoever it was that was staying in this inn a couple days ago and get some information about these two. Though that is all your natural 20 will turn up.
Okay, so I relay that information.
All right.
Do Inel arrive at that time?
And that investigation will take about, an hour or so. So yes, Inel, that would be roughly the time that you would be arriving, is about when... about halfway through, Gale having finished their scouring of the rooms, doing their sort of, breakdown detective style of what they think is likely going on here and where they might be able to find a lead if this matter continues to grow in urgency.
Anyway, I'm not joining my compatriot for now. Inel is just drinking at a table.
You got it.
The first time he's drinking alcohol in his whole session and in the whole campaign.
All right, Ulta.
In the investigation, sorry, Ulta, do you?
Go ahead. I'll go after. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
In the time it's taken to go through these rooms and become very, very worried about everything that might be containing more of that ore. Because something does, somewhere here. I realize that I've got some sort of box. Some sort of mystery box that the Department of Engineering and Extractions gave me before I got zanked here. And so I'd like to open the box. What's in the box? What's in this mystery box?
What is in the mystery box, indeed? All right, I am going to roll on my end to see what the contents are. I always do this live because it's just so much more fun that way. Let me pull up the chart, and it looks like... Opening the box, you are going to find inside of it, there is a small animal of some kind. In this case, it seems to be that of a lizard, like probably a gecko, judging by the pads on its feet. And as you're thinking to yourself for a moment what you're going to do with this, you can feel in your mind this sort of intrinsic bond beginning to form with this creature, and it seems to emote back to you whatever you need, really.
Fantastic. I think to it.
And it is going to look up at you and smile and lick one of its own eyeballs and then quickly scurry out of the box and find a resting position on one of your shoulders. You have gained... This is not a familiar. It is instead an animal companion of a specific variety, and as such, if it dies, it is no more. But for the time being, it functions with much the same rule set as you can interact with it psychically. It has enough intelligence that it can effectively go places and report back to you. You cannot see through its eyes, however. The gecko has effectively 1 HP and an AC of 12.
Okay.
It is important, it has dark vision and obviously can cling to walls, and it's amphibious.
Yeah, okay, dark vision, cling to walls.
Where did you open that?
Yeah, somewhere out of your view, definitely. I wanted to sort of open that because it was, burning a hole in my satchel. Can I have it sort of poke around for more of that stone too?
Sure. It can certainly make an investigation check, though it will turn up similarly blank results, as it does not find any evidence.
Right. Okay. I am going to ask it if it is willing to... would it be comfortable in the box again, or a pocket?
I would prefer to keep myself apprised of the situation around me, it says, while quickly darting its head back and forth.
And licking its own eyeball.
Yep.
Certainly. Okay. Do you have a name I should call you by?
I do not have one, but I certainly could use one.
Mrs. Shine. Yes. Shine.
All right. Your gecko named. Around this time, you will have basically in its second investigation kind of used up all of the time that transpired while Gale was also doing their investigation. Ulta, What are you doing while this one is busy talking to a lizard and the other one is kind of busy tacking strings to photographs and trying to figure out exactly who this RM is?
I'm gonna see if there's anyone that's in the common room that may have been staying here for a while. Or since these are like you said, a lot of the day drinkers are kind of regulars, maybe they would have known some of the other people that stayed here before.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check as you attempt to kind of see if there's anyone here who, I mean, clearly judging by the polymorph effects, there are some residents of the town, but if they might remember something about the residents of that room. Okay, with the 10 investigation, you're not going to be able to produce any, I guess, really more revealing information other than a brief description. It seems like the person that had been staying in your room prior was an individual who had a rather vibrant red and black cloak. The red in multiple hues and the black stitching at the edges of it very fine and kind of in dense with pattern. They said that it was pretty remarkable. They believe it was likely a young man, probably a half-elf, but difficult to tell as they kept the cowl of their cloak drawn most of the eve and did not really do much. They were pretty exceptional in the fact that they sat at a table with a bottle of wine and did not open it for quite really the entire evening, and that just stood out in this person's mind. That is all you are going to get, though. There doesn't seem to be any mention of their companion. There doesn't seem to be any real mention of anything else that they had gotten up to or anyone else they had spoken to. It just seems that they had gotten there, taken a table, and looked like they were expecting to meet someone later that never arrived.
Okay, thank you.
Do I see Alta talking with the person around me?
Oh, absolutely. It's pretty impossible to conceal, really.
Kind of smirk and think to myself, she's going to get us some unnecessary attention with those questions.
All right. About the time that you're thinking that, your companion who just got done speaking with a crystalline creature from beyond the material plane is going to come walking through the door. And now, reunited again, the party here in the inn, you have obviously many things to discuss or potentially get involved in, but are you going to stow that for the time being and wait for the runners to arrive and kind of accelerate this council meeting? Or is there something you would all like to hash out first? I mean, obviously there's been a lot of new information, both from this investigation and also, you know, Rydell's talk with Yenisea.
So, what happened? Are they with us? Or are they against us? Or are they waiting to see what happens?
I definitely think I did get a great deal of information. I think discussing such openly would be ill-advised. We can either hash it out at the meeting or find somewhere private now and talk.
I'm just reading my first beer and just say it's really hard to drink with a beak, you know. And the taste is not the greatest.
It's just all running down Inel's face because he doesn't have lips. I never even thought about that.
You just gotta pour it.
It's just...
I'm just sipping it with my beak.
Oh, man. Oh, that's
He's
a
like
great
one of
mental
those little
picture.
drinking birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, he basically just has to do that. Like,
My,
All right. Anyway,
Let's go upstairs. I just left my unfinished beer.
I think all of us should go because we have some stuff to go over with them too.
Yeah, I'll meet them downstairs.
So
I'm
we're
worried
going
that there's
upstairs?
something concealing more of that dangerous stone.
Hey Gail, when I finish my beer, I don't like it.
Thanks. I pound it and let's go.
So are we going up? Are we going up to talk, or?
I mean, we have a meeting soon, but we must wait for the agent to come see us, I think. And I'm gonna be open with y'all. I'm having a really bad day. So if
That makes one of you.
yeah, what I say, I was having a bad day. I think everyone is being happy right now, but I
Hi.
might
Hi,
do something reckless.
a new friend.
Why would
Please
you do
don't
something reckless?
Meet Miss Shine.
Huh. Hello, Miss Shine. I mean,
If,
I have
if, you,
go ahead, Rydell.
if you feel like you're not acting, if you think like you might make a reckless choice, it might be wise for you to stay back from the meeting.
I think I should still come with you because I don't want to meet other people that might turn me into more of a bird. But I'm scared, honestly.
You can't control yourself. What does that mean? Like, if you think
Um,
you're gonna put us all in danger, I don't think I want you at the meeting.
Not in danger. I don't want to hurt you. I mean, you too. You did nothing wrong to me. I mean, this one's kind of shady, but
What you're saying definitely is concerning.
I'm gonna get my words
Oh,
and
me?
say it. Yeah, Mr. Shade. I'm having some trust issue with our guild, and I'm having some trust issue with our maybe allies. And this place was my first mission. I was really excited to finally go on field with the Guild of Mazes. And on my first mission, half of my team died. And the one that lived was so depressed that she left.
Death is inevitable.
It sounds like you might be getting to that stage too.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to die.
Maybe you should
And-
report back to the guild and let them know what your issues are.
But I'm not a coward. That's the thing. I'm really bad with emotion and words.
But telling us you're going to do something reckless doesn't put our trust in you very well.
Honestly, I think it does. Because I could have just do it, come with you and do it. But I talk to you because I trust you. I trust my guild. I have some problem right now, but I
It's
trust
important that people trust each other.
I
If
trust
we're
that the
going to
guild
be working together.
That's not what I think. Last time I was just following, and now I'm the oldest one on the field.
Tell
right
me a
now.
little bit more about how your fear is rational. Tell us more about that.
Well,
Yeah.
What are you really afraid of?
losing more people. I really bad. Yeah, I mean, I only know those two, but from one day. But we're part of a guild. We're supposed to help each other, help people, and now, as I came back here, I just realized a lot of people dies for plans that we don't know of. The Guild of Mazes doesn't talk much to us. We have a quest. We have some things they want us to retrieve.
Yeah, we all know what we're getting into when we get into this.
You know,
I thought I did.
we can
and now-
only work with what information we have in front of us, and if you're worried about losing us or hurting us, I trust that you won't do anything that will put us in danger.
I won't.
How does it make you feel, I know?
therapy session with D&D. Honestly, the reason why I wanted to see the miners thing before destroying it, I had a plan, a stupid plan, reckless and idiotic. I wanted to create an illusion of the crystal and use it as a bargaining chip. But now I just want to help people. I want to help this world. I want to end the greed and the sins of people and leave this place better than when I came here. So
That's a good goal.
Your feelings are important. Why do you think that you were selfish?
because I always hide my road trick. I'm just blasting and hoping I don't die. Because if last time what I did, I had 3 people die in front of me. I saw them, and I
heard about
just ran.
that.
I just ran.
I can imagine that being scary. How does that make you feel to have seen that?
It's kind of traumatizing. I really want to end this. So I'm gonna say this thing that I say I said the first night I met you, Gail. It's not we're not dying in dinner. I'm not gonna die, or if I will, at least this will make some of my friends have dinner this night.
It sounds like you've had.
I concur, as usual, with the dinner and not dying. I really
So-
appreciate you talking to me now.
Thank you.
It sounds like you've had a little bit of a change of heart. With that, we have some information to go over before our meeting.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen now. Go ahead.
So I'll relay the information I got from the Fae. We know the leader, we know its name, we know the plan, all of those things, and kind of how they feel, how the Fae feels about working with the miners and what they want, just in less time.
All right, excellent. All of that communicated. Group, what will you do?
I'll say, like, if negotiations go south, I'd be more comfortable siding with the Fae, as their concerns do make sense with me. And I believe the compromise of 1 day of rest for mining is more than fair for their help.
And hey, they could make it a holiday. Make I don't know, no work day and make some merch out of it. Like
I'm
this
sure,
to make money and save the earth.
I'm sure the miners would appreciate a day off as well.
Now, did you clarify what she meant by Sabbath? 1
Yes.
day of the time that they usually spend working, or does time pass differently for her?
I'd imagine she would talk in terms that would make sense to us. So, the Fae would like for all mining operations
The
to
Fae are
cease.
very straightforward.
Though I don't know how possible that is given the mining town. But I say one day in our time of no mining.
Well, if they're at odds with the fairies, if we could negotiate just 1 day. They might appreciate, the relative peace that would cause.
Yes, I agree. I think in exchange for their help, that would be more than suffice, especially given the dire circumstances.
It's definitely worth a shot. Then we could bring both sides together to fight off the trolls.
Common
Still
enemy.
pissed about Fia.
The guild has many lives to avenge. Many lives indeed.
True.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Please, is there anything else that you'd like to, conspire about in detail before this meeting begins? Obviously you'll have much less chance to have these asides privately once you're standing before 4 or 5 representatives of different businesses.
I just wanted to, since Alta doesn't know a whole lot about what y'all have been through, I'm mostly going to be quiet during that meeting.
Fair enough. I think we should start talking. Talk about the information we know, and if we can bring in. Forgetting the name right now, but the Fae to talk for themselves. To talk for themselves if our words don't suffice.
I don't think I will talk much too, but it's one thing I can give you a hint to what to do is with people like that, emotion mean nothing. Profit is all they care. So try to scratch them in a way that makes them, yeah, this could work. Like day off holiday, make some merch, make something that we help them more than they might think it will.
Yes. They won't be able to make any money if our entire world is destroyed.
We just
Fair
need to
enough.
talk in
That
terms
is
of what
Not a
them.
bad case there, actually.
Very good.
You just got to think about like phrasing that as like a positive revenue stream somehow.
Not dying is good for business.
One day off increases worker motivation and prevents the end of the world.
This chart shows how much money we'll make once everyone is dead, and this chart shows how much money we will make while people are still alive.
In the time,
Talk to them in terms of all the great things that they can do on the Sabbath that are non-mining that will help them benefit and grow their business.
while we're waiting for the runners, I'm gonna start drawing some charts and graphs.
Sure.
Oh my
Get some
God.
visual aids together.
I'm gonna help.
Go ahead and I'll take either intelligence checks or wisdom checks in the assembling of these arts and crafts or visual aids or you know,
Like a wisdom saving throw, or just like
it's just a straight check.
okay.
I'm gonna help with my intelligence.
I'd call it sleight of hand, but I don't know how much dexterity is really the thing here. This is more of a whether or not
Making
you're- that's
I would like to help with this as well.
Okay, go ahead, wisdom. I'll just take the then Rydell. Oh,
I think it's just a straight check, Gail.
yeah, it's just a straight check, but I can always just take the proficiency modifier off of it because that's a saving throw is just is also a straight check if you don't have a modifier to it because it automatically just rolls into whatever that stats modifier is.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you, though. I caught that. The 19 plus the D4 from Rydell. Rydell, you're going to be able to put together what you feel like are some fairly convincing graphs on the negative productivity experienced by being entirely deceased. That it's
Great.
just, it's very compelling. Like, this is real stuff you've got here.
I feel good going into the meeting.
Right.
Nice job.
And you know, not only are the graphs, you know, factually accurate, they're compelling. You've managed to, you know, really bring some zazz to it. So the likelihood that they're gonna, you know, stay with more rapt attention is high. During this time, though, that is going to take essentially, I'm not going to say hours, but certainly into at least an hour and a half-ish of your time, which will put us into the midday well and full, at which point I need to make a couple of checks on behalf of the mining companies and how effective Zetheria's letters were, and when they will be choosing. Okay, it looks like runners are going to be by in the mid-afternoon to inform you that Zetheria's letters were, while not necessarily that persuasive, they were very effective in getting the heads of the other mining companies to turn out. And it looks like this evening at around 6 p.m. or just after an early supper, you will be meeting with Zetheria, a man by the name of, because this runner is just listing off names and doesn't really have much information. Man by the name of Bulward, man by the name of Tamblin, a woman by the name of Cantel, and a man by the name of Wyatt. There are likely to be some assistants present, but the runner doesn't seem to really know much about this body politic, as they've basically just been given a short message to deliver, which is be there at 6 p.m. and be ready, as it seems that there are going to be a number of people present.
If we were to go a little early, would we have time to talk to her first about the other stuff that we found?
The runner does not know, but you could always try and see what happens.
Yeah, I think heading over as soon as possible, trying to talk to her about the information before bringing everyone else in is wise.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to do that too.
So I'll head over to the carport.
Oh, Colin, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the stream's saying that you're muted over there.
Oh, okay. How about now? Okay, it looks like I think I'm unmuted. I don't know what happened there.
Yep, good now.
Okay, excellent. I toggled my audio on and off, but it didn't look like there was anything wrong with it. Thank you very much for catching that. I don't know how much of I missed, but basically, after Zetheria has had a chance to send her day's business on the way, she will meet with you again, and you will see that she has recovered a lot of her composure, as she has been re-energized by the call to unity being responded to so favorably. But she is at this point busy just making the office tidy enough so that she might leave it behind in good conscience, as she will be asking you to join her on the 3rd floor of this office, where there is a lounge for just such meetings.
So we're able to talk to her like as she's getting ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I'll say, fortunately I've been able to find the information that we've been seeking, and I'll say that. I'll relay everything, the leader, the name, the plan, the Fey ally, and what we're trying to do with the compromise.
Okay. Zetheria is going to be incredibly relieved at all of this information, and you can see that she is busy filing it away upstairs as she begins to consider all of these pieces of information and how they might relate to one another. Except when you get to that last bit about days off. That seems to, at a certain point, she makes note of it, but you can tell that it's sort of a later kind of thing. With that information in hand, though, she is going to... Let me check here. All right, yeah. She will have another 100 gold for the party, as she does greatly appreciate the added amount of vital information about the enemy cause. As to whether or not she is going to be able to help you get the Fae and what they want, I just don't... We will see.
I understand.
And before we go there for that too, I'd like to go over the information that we got from the investigation and see if she knows anyone with those initials with that type of description.
All right. Let's see. Interesting. So, she does not know anyone by that name, but the description is going to be familiar as she rolls just high enough for that category. And after a moment, she will say, that individual came into town and had some dealings and then left. I remember because they didn't come here, but they spent several hundred gold pieces at one of our rivals. This is distressing. Hopefully, these things might be a little bit more unrelated than they seem, but this seems to suggest that someone was in the process of planting some sort of evidence. That...
Well...
Yes?
Oh, I was just going to tell her, too, that there's another week and a half of another guild function party scheduled for the following week that they might want to keep an eye on.
I will. This is distressing news. I have operatives positioned in the other mining companies to keep up on the details of the everyday coming and going. I will have some of them look into this to see if they can't find a little bit more information out about this mysterious RM and what they were doing in a place like Fog Iron Landing in such finery, and perhaps what had happened and who they were waiting on. So, I do thank you for helping me put two and two together there. We may have more yet to come of that later, but for the time being, we will have to get through this meeting of the minds, and hopefully without there being too much dissension. Otherwise, we might risk pushing one of these parties out and, losing the resources that they would have for us. As much as these accusations might bear fruit in the future, for the time being, we do have an active need for soldiers and able-bodied laborers to help in this oncoming battle. So, you'll forgive me if I do not bring it to their attention.
Sorry, I think I missed that last little part there.
Oh, she is just saying that she would prefer not to bring it up during the council meeting because of the fact that she is sure that it might cause more of a rift than it would be a unifying thing, and it might cause people to pull out from this agreement of any kind.
Did you
Completely
get some,
understandable.
Jatira, did you get some news from the other participant in this council?
Only that they would be arriving to discuss what I had told them. I have not given them all of the fine details, but I relayed that I had sent scouts out and that they had returned with distressing news about the likelihood of a mounting troll invasion of some kind. As well, I may have included that you were involved in some of the previous battles with these creatures that had proven successful. So, if nothing else, I'm sure they will want to come and make assessment of this situation and how much I may or may not be stretching the truth for my own benefit.
I mean,
tell you all now I have nothing to hide, but they must act as if I do, for without that they have no leverage. If you cannot accuse me of lying, then they cannot otherwise hold some sort of bitter grudge and demand tribute or payment or better terms.
Do you still got the troll head we gave you?
Yes, I have it upstairs in the lounge, in
Maybe
a
it's
jar.
gonna be.
I thought it might make a quite compelling prop for the evening.
But hey, good news because Rydell here made some prop to help with the showcase of our plan to save everything.
Yes, we put together a hopefully rather convincing set of diagrams for your associates.
Thank you. I appreciate all that you've done. Now, please, the lounge awaits you upstairs. You'll find that there are fine drinks of all kinds available to you, as well as amenities. Make yourselves comfortable as much you can. I'm sure that in the hours to follow, many will be arriving early as you have in order to probably ply me and try to gain information in private before they have to face the rest of the council without any further advantage. I will have to play my resources well. I have favor with some of the other organizations here and less so with some of the others. We will see how the pre-negotiations go, and then, of course, the real matter of it will be whether or not you are capable of convincing them. For that, I wish all of the luck of the goddesses, but we will only be able to see what happens. Okay, with that, the party, if you don't have anything else for Zetheria, is invited to head upstairs to the lounge and relax while this council meeting is gearing up.
Are the chairs comfortable?
Okay.
The chairs are in fact comfortable. The furniture in this room is unlike almost anything else that you've seen offered thus far in Fog Iron Landing. It's almost this bizarrely removed setting, as if you've strolled into the interior of some noble's house or some sort of study for a king or queen of some kind. The both upholstery and the craftsmanship of the interior of this room look as if no expense has been spared in order to create a sense of both comfort and also to impress those who might enter. Up on the walls there are a number of ore samples that are unique and stunning in various different ways, that are highlighted with candlelight behind these thick panes of glass, making both impressive and functional ornamental display. There is, as Zetheria mentioned, a well-stocked liquor cabinet, and what seem to be a small number of snacks and offerings of fruits and cheeses and dried meats already pre-cut up and spread out before you. You're not sure if you're supposed to touch the hors d'oeuvres yet, but they do surely look enticing.
I see where the budget went. So, I guess we should take take a chair, everyone, and wait for the grand show.
I'll get out my all the charts and stuff I've made and have them set up and readily available, but just flipped so you can't see them.
All right.
I'll snack.
Oh, awesome.
I won't snack actually because I don't trust anything they did right now. I mean, they won't put it. I don't think they will poison us, but I'm just picking bits of cheese or something with my beak.
All All right. Well, without further ado, then, the participants in this rather fateful council meeting will begin to arrive. You will see Zetheria's organizer shows up into the room a little bit before they begin proceeding in, and makes sure that everything is set up and in its proper place, and also facilitates the greetings. First, you are, as the runner seems to be almost aware of the order of which they would be in attendance, or perhaps that was Zetheria merely making an educated guess about various levels of tardiness. But you are going to be introduced to a rather aged, stout dwarven fellow, his beard mostly white now, with specks of gray throughout it. But despite this, you see all of the signs of life and acuity that you might expect of somebody of his veneration, as you see his sort of gaze is both calculating and cold, while at the same time his face has sort of this, if maybe well practiced but inviting smile upon it. This dwarf is dressed in finery and does not seem to care for any amount of ornamental armor of any kind, and is instead just in like decorative tunic and leggings. The only real metal upon them is that they have this massive belt buckle that is keeping a leather band about their waist. The band itself is almost about the size of their stomach, this belt being obviously the sort of centerpiece of this person's attire, and them resting both of their thumbs upon it as they enter. This dwarf is none other than... Let me make sure that I get these mining companies right. Yeah, this is Bulwart Bucketborn of the Stout Hammer Excavators. Then, next, making their appearance into the room, we have none other than a gnomish individual who, much like the dwarf following before him, has all of the trappings of fine society and some sort of erudite life. They are going to be introduced as one Tamblin Butterbloom Holder, though you will see that the gnome takes exception at this, indicating that we have disassociated from the Butterbloom half of the family since the incident at the preparatory school. Thank you very much. This is simply, merely the Holder Mining Company Incorporated at this point. And at that point, the next to show up will be Cantle Turner and Wyatt Bright of the Turner and Bright Tumble and Grading Mining Company. Cantle and Wyatt are both going to be much more indicative of people who are likely in the very trenches of their business, as they show up in well-worn leathers without the trappings of wealth or rings, necklaces, and bands, pocket watches, that sort of thing. They look much more like salt-of-the-earth people. However, at the same time, they also seem a little bit more hostile to this situation, whereas Bulwart and Tamblin both seem to have kind of this ease about them, as if whatever they're talking about is just yet another negotiation, and hundreds of lives don't hang in the very balance. You can see that Cantle and Wyatt have this almost passive disdain.
What are their race actually?
Bulwart is dwarf. Oh, Cantle and Wyatt are both human. Sorry.
Thank you.
At this point, would I be able to cast a spell without, like, everyone knowing I cast a spell?
I would ask for a sleight of hand check and a stealth check. The stealth to cover the. Well, actually, I would just ask for a stealth check. That makes more sense.
Not worth it. Could I ask if I could use the bathroom real quick?
Certainly. You're very much allowed to excuse yourself at any time, and as well in the first, 5-10 minutes, everyone is just sort of waiting for Zetheria to arrive, so you've got a moment.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to the bathroom and find a little area.
The bathroom is just for indication down the hall slightly, so you do have to leave this room. I don't know if that influences what you're about to do, just so you
No, yeah, that's fine. And I'm gonna cast Enhance Ability, Charisma on myself, and then come back.
You're just putting some makeup, right?
You will find that charisma can be a very nebulous and a kind of pervasive thing. Your companion returns with a certain clarity and confidence to them that you are imagining they, probably just were giving themselves a really great pep talk.
I know it's a strength of personality, charisma. I think that's what its description is.
Absolutely.
He was adding glitter to his chart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gel pens. It's all about the different colored inks.
It is.
You gotta flash some color, otherwise it's just the eyes get bored and it's just gray and white and black, and you get lost in a sea of numbers.
I'm gonna give you my quarter stats so you can just point at the bullet point.
From there, the discussion is going to begin in earnest. Zetheria is going to state her case, saying all of what you feel like are the relevant points that you've been over. You don't hear her omit anything from the story told. She obviously does not touch upon the issue of the Miner's Mourn that was found, and she tries to keep it more relevant to the idea of that they have discovered the location of the camp. They've discovered the name of their leader and their purpose here. And they are basically, as she says, here to discuss primarily what we are all willing and capable of bringing together so that we might fight against this cause. I understand that there are also some other forces and allies that might aid us, but first I wanted to discuss exactly what everyone here is capable of bringing to the table. But before you make your proclamations about your commitment, I will give a bit of time now to the 5 who have proven so much at the center of these occurrences, both at being the only ones capable of returning with the dead corpse of a troll from the wilderness, as well as having completed this reconnaissance mission. And as some of you may have heard, they were also involved the other night in defending some of your workers from the onslaught of some ghouls that have begun to emerge from the forest as things have gotten stranger and stranger. I do not know how much longer we can afford to rely on mercenaries such as themselves to protect the village proper when it seems as if there is a grander plot afoot, and likely we are to be crushed under a wave of invasion that we are not prepared for. So without any further ado, please, the Guild of Mazes and their representatives. She is going to back away and offer the floor to you. Rydell, I'm going to give you first on the mic just because you're the one with the graphs and charts, but of course everyone else, is there in the room. You are going to have the rapt attention of the dwarf, gnome, the humans, everyone in the room. Even Zetheria's organizer has at this point kind of ceased her more officious capacity and has now stopped and is listening with very close attention to the events that are transpiring.
Thank you, everyone, for gathering here for such a dire circumstance. And then I'm gonna rehash kind of what has been said about the situation. I'll say I have kind of like what the compromise. Like we've made an ally with the Fae who are willing to help kind of make a more permanent solution, and talk about like the compromise, and also that they're willing to join us here tonight if anyone has any doubts about anything or wishes to hear them talk for themselves.
Okay, go ahead and give me a persuasion check, right, Al, as you are going to start off the beginning of this social challenge to see what's this really work. Okay, it seems like the gnome and the dwarf are not interested in speaking to this Fae, whereas it seems that the two humans are. The general tone of their reaction seems to be fairly varied, but the dwarf and the gnome and the two humans seem to be fairly split in their opinions of each other. Bulwart is going to begin with kind of a cough to clear his throat, and then a bit of a harumph, and, well, it seems that what we've got going on here is just a simple matter of getting together a suitable force and arming them and sending them into the troll camps to make short work of them. This is the sort of thing that happens all the time. We just need to get the proper arms and armaments together. We can easily, I'm sure, between the lot of us, afford the necessary soldiers to bolster our ranks if we do not already have them. And then...
I'll say, I wish it was as easy as that. Unfortunately, what we're dealing with is a creature from another realm entirely who has banded together forces wishing to cause destruction on this town and very well our whole world. And then at this time, I'll turn around my graphs and everything and do my little presentation talking about kind of the stakes, like what the stakes are and why it would be good to join us.
This will give you a chance to make another persuasion check. Go ahead and make that roll. You still have advantage, obviously, through the enhance ability. All right, that, it looks like, is going to be enough to kind of bring the dwarf onto the board of, like, that there is a more exceptional solution required because these are exceptional circumstances. But you can see that they still have this kind of like look in their eye that as if a certain amount of good old-fashioned dwarven know-how, some pointed spears and a couple of torches, well placed, could probably sort this out.
I think inviting... I'll talk to the people who have not really, who aren't so sold. I think inviting the Fae here could provide you with some insight on the true gravity of the situation.
Tamblin is going to now, well, hold on, okay? I'm sure that they're going to be very compelling. I've met a number of the Fae from this surrounding area in my time, and they all have the same stories, which are all wonderful parts of our community, but you have to understand that I'm looking out for members of this community. And I don't see any of the fairies or the pixies or their sprites working in the mines. I see a lot of humans and hardworking dwarves, and there's even a fair number of genasi here as well, he says, obviously playing off the room. But at the same time, we've got to consider that, there are priorities here. Now, what I'm saying is that I'm open to the possibility of working with them to overcome this obstacle, but I'm kind of with Bulwart here in that shouldn't we try a more conventional means before we're looking to just give up a slice of our profits?
I understand your position, but to be blunt, the only reason we're here in this situation in the first place, or The only reason we've gotten this far is because of us in the Guild of Mazes. We were able to defeat a Mistral. We were able to protect this town. We were able to get all of this information, and without having been there yourselves, you couldn't possibly know the gravity of the situation or the proper steps to solve it.
All right. Just addressing that it happened, it looks like one of my instances of roll 20 has crashed. It should be loading back up, but for the time being, as we are just in a conversation, it won't have that much consequence. But I may need some. I might have to look at the stream in order to see what rolls are. From there, you are going to now have the intervention of the two humans. Cantle and Wyatt are going to begin. This is all, I'm sure, a fine and well thing that you're willing to wait and risk all of our lives, Bulwart, Tamblin, but you'll find that those of us here are fine with there being a day's rest, I think. A fairly common one at that, if that's what it takes for the rest of this to continue moving onward. I think that you'll find that maybe you're a little hesitant because you're trying to drag your feet on purpose. Something about an elevator and the access to it. You're going to see this is going to quickly begin devolving into a discussion over the logistics of the internal mining operations in the cliffside north of you, as Tamblin is going to immediately rebuff that with the elevators are communal goods that are available to everybody at equal times. My men are simply the first ones to arrive with their ore and get it sufficiently, and at which point Cantle will jump in. You do not have any right to tell us what your men are doing down there,
Right,
because we're the ones.
I am going to cast silence in the middle of the room.
Okay. As you begin to cast silence, that is going to actually draw a fair amount of sudden attention as, again, you begin to weave your hands together and produce sounds that are literally not of this world. I was about to say unearthly, but we're not even there. So as a result, everyone's going to stop for a second, nervous as to what this Guild of Mazes representative might produce. And then as this hush falls over the room and no longer can you even hear the clinking of the glasses or the idle jostling of one another kind of moving across the tight leather upholstery. And with that, you will see that Cantle and Wyatt sort of cross their arms in this knowing kind of, well, look at where we are now. Clearly with the same disdain that they had a moment ago when they were able to voice it. And you will see that Tamblin of the Butterbloom Holden is very much so kind of indifferent to their resting gazes of hatred as he kind of just twiddles his thumbs and sits there quietly smiling. With that cast, and certainly having put a hard break on what was about to be likely the airing of petty grievances, from there, what do you want to do, Halasoon, as you're the one who has control over that silence?
Yes. No sound can make it through there, so the fact that I cough doesn't really matter so much. But
it's a visual cue, though.
I will drop the silence, and no one will be the wiser, because no one seems to be trying to actively yell and talk. They're just sort of resigned to. And my cough, I will just sort of turn away and sort of duck to the side, not totally visible.
Okay.
Blur is simply just a verbal one, so I can do this without worrying about being stopped or worried. It'll just make my presentation a little more clear.
Okay. So, casting blur on yourself. What are you gonna say?
You're muted.
No audio.
No audio from me?
Sorry, for Morgan.
Oh,
Oh, things need to be snapped into focus. I drop that blur and whip out my handy little graph here explaining the effects here of employee morale and profit, assuming that people end up getting a Sabbath day and living. See how morale is so high and then the profit keeps going up? Versus no Sabbath day and all the trolls attack and kill everyone and all the people's mining drills into the Fae and everyone dies and that morale there goes all the way down and is flat. There is a brief rise in profit here as you try to sell off the dead people's stuff, but that immediately falls back down to zero, and it's far more effective to have this Sabbath implemented here, and not only will the morale be much higher, but that profit will continue going up throughout the rest of your time here.
And I'll say, I understand your differences, but we're not here to talk about petty grievances. As we speak, the trolls gain power.
editor's note. I've had some technical difficulty with my computer of late, and there was a crash in the middle of this episode. As well, it seems that I mislabeled some of the files in reference to the stones that were supposed to be awarded this evening, or possibly awarded. It all gets sorted out for the best, and no mistakes are irreversible by the end of the night. But thank you for sticking with, and I may have edited around here where it was cumbersome, so thank you. And... well, I appreciate that. We are back. Yep, exactly that. We are back now. I appreciate that so much. We are more or less out of time for the evening, as we will get into the retort of the Butterbloom Holden Mining Company, or formerly Butterbloom Holden Mining Company, and the general party's success in this overall council as they try to figure out how many soldiers, how many miners, and what fortifications and resources that they might be able to bring to bear. And then, of course, the discussion of whether or not they will concede to let one of the days of their week go by with no work being done. But that will be something that we will get into next session. In the meantime, thank you all so much for watching this episode of the Guild of Mazes presents So You Think You Can Quest. We still have a prize to give away before we go, however. And what with everything that happened over the course of the evening, I really feel like this is one of those sessions where every single player really kind of brought something to the table tonight, as far as both like Reyna's investigation, whereas Moeller was able to up the ante with those 2 natural 20s at various points. There was Rydell as well as Halasoon, both getting involved in the creation of these graphs and charts and the rhetoric necessary, as well as Inel also having his moment of what is kind of really part of the emerging plot of this game, as now the most senior member of the Guild of Mazes has to question the very organization that they are working for. It does not seem as if everything is as it should be, or that they can take things at face value. Do you find yourselves in the service of an organization that might otherwise be trying to prey upon you as much as it is trying to somehow allow you to increase your own skills as an adventurer? These sorts of things are all questions that are going to have to get answered over the course of this game as the party begins to explore more and more of not only the wilderness around them and underneath them, but the very origins of what has sent them here in the first place. But without further ado, we've got a 5-way split. Everybody give me a D20 into the Roll20 chat, and we will see who is going to walk away tonight. We have for stones this evening an axe head of purpurite and a tooth of astrophyllite with a within a quartz substrate. That is, we got a 13, 18 out of Rydell, 2 out of Gale, Ulta, and then 14 out of Inel. That was a tense one. It looked like that was going to land on a 20 there for a second. But that is going to make Rydell the winner of this exchange, as you will be the lucky contestant going home with a precious stone.
I will take the purpurite.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. Also, sorry about that confusion there at the end. I didn't want to scare anybody. I'm going to make sure to triple check my notes on that. It's one of the things that I try and keep the best track of because I don't want to ever mess that one up. But I am also going to my lapidary tomorrow to pick up a fresh bounty of stones with which to begin adding to the prize pools once more. So I'm excited to show you all some new stuff moving forward. And with that, I will leave everyone at the end of this kind of otherwise kind of broken end of this session that I'll have to kind of edit together in the aftermath with one final question to leave in your hearts, which is, so you think you can quest? And here we reach the end of our tale. For now, join us again next time as the Guild of Mazes presents So You Think You Can Quest.
Yeah, I got 20 reasons right here. I don't need like to be no letters, and I'm rolling 20s. I'm rolling 20s. Had a dragon leash, try to break my stride, so I choked a war axe right between his eyes. Been gaining all the dragon's ass since 2 days past. He terrorized the town, brought him to the ground. But I've been moving quick and fight that son of a bitch now. 'Cause every day I'm hustling. Just one perception check springs every trap that's set. Oh, dungeon masters hate when I sit down to play. 'Cause I'm rolling 20. Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game. 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 I'm rolling 20s like a 60. Hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I'm rolling 20s like a 60. Hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I'm rolling 20s like a 60. Hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the player.